Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Tom, you're a fucking author. Not only are you an author, but you were a New York Times best-selling author.
Pretty crazy, man.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
I know. I really didn't think that would happen, to be honest.
It's wild. You got a wild following now, Cal.
I know. It's just, I remember that's the whole thing. Once you have like everything in, they start talking about the sales, obviously. Like first is the work of writing the book.
Right.
Which is its own thing, and everybody's like, don't do it. At least comics are. They're like, don't fucking do it. You know,
everybody I know that's done it said exactly what you said. It's a grind.
Yeah, it is. What it is too is that for somebody that's out of schoolwork for so long, it's the thing that feels like going back to school the most because you have deadlines, and we know we don't write you don't have deadlines in stand up. You know,
Oof.
It's like, and you send it and you get notes back, and they're like, there's blood all over the pages, right? Like you're like. And they're like, this doesn't even make, how do you connect these two? And you're like, I don't know. And they're like, well, that's what you have to do now. You're writing it. And you're like, fuck, okay. So it's just like, it feels like you're back to work. You know, you're back to doing work again.
How's your typing?
It was rough with the arm, with the hand.
Oh, that's right.
So I started writing this book. I got the deal for it when the pandemic was like, when it was clear everything was shut down. So everything started in March. And then it was like April, May. I feel like in that window is when I got the deal to do this. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do any touring. Like they were like, remember, touring's like done. I'll write a book. I sent in like, I don't know, 10,000 words. And then a little while later, I sent in 20,000 more. And I remember that I gave it to the publisher and she took her time with it. You know, like to do her notes. I mean, it's I don't know how many pages that is, but let's say it's like 100 pages or something. So it took a while. So I'm just like waiting to get notes back, and then when they come back, it's like right before I get injured. So I think I'm then in the hospital, and I have an arm that doesn't work for a while, and they go, "How's the notes coming?" I'm like, "I'm not doing them. I can't write right now," like because I was like, and. When I finally did get to them, it took a while. Like some chapters you get notes on say things like, just add something here and there. And this works great. Make this more clear. And you're like, oh, that's not bad at all. And you flip the page and the next thing is like just, we don't know what the fuck this story is about. And it's just like lines all over the place. Lose this, add humor. And you're like, oh my God. Add humor, yeah. Oh. That's definitely one where they go, this story is a good story, but you need to add humor to it. And you're like,
why do you have to add humor to a story?
Because you're a comedian.
Yeah, but you're also a podcaster.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the best thing about podcasting?
Mm-hmm.
Because like you don't have to like hit a very specific note. You can kind of talk about anything. Serious, goofy.
And you get comfortable. It's weird because most comedians, you see it, are so uncomfortable with moments without laughter sometimes.
Mark Norman.
Oh, really? Comedy.
He's not uncomfortable. He just can't help himself with the one-liner.
Yeah. He just zings.
It's got like he's got like a file in his head that just comes flying out.
It does. It comes flying out. Yeah, I just did his podcast with Sam Morril.
Oh yeah?
Fun. Yeah, very fun. We Might Be Drunk. It's a great podcast.
Yeah.
But you see comics who also on stage, I mean, obviously you want to get laughs on stage, but there's comics who can't even take a beat, a moment.
They get scared. Yeah.
They get real scared, like there's not laughter right now. And then you see people who really are super comfortable setting up those moments.
Gillis is great with that.
Yeah.
He's locked in. It's
one of my favorite things to watch in stand-up. Because I really enjoy being taken on a ride.
Yeah.
And a comic who's really masterful at pauses and leading you somewhere to then drop it on you. It's so fun.
It's a thing. You got to know when to do it and know when not to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so interesting. It's like jokes are kind of like songs. Like some songs, there's slow parts, and some songs are all just fucking hot for teacher.
I mean, I have part of my hour right now that is slower building, like in the middle of the show. And if I'm on a late show and it's a chaotic crowd, I'll in my head I'll be like, just skip that shit because it's just it takes you have to pay attention to that And
late
you got to
shows.
know that on a crowd like that, it's time to like, you
got to fire at them.
You got to fire at them. Yeah.
Late show Friday.
You have to.
People have been working all day. They got up at 7. They went to work. They probably went to the gym. They got something to eat. They started drinking. And then they come to the show. It's 10:30 when the show starts.
Out of their minds too. And
Out of their mind.
And sometimes they think they're your biggest. They might be your biggest fan. They're like, I'm here to have to see my favorite person, and they're just ruining the fucking show.
There's a guy the other night at the Vulcan, like while I was on stage, everything's like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
That's the worst.
Don't
one of
do
the worst.
that. Like, oh Jesus, bro, and everyone around him is like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you tell him, Joe. And you're like, that's what I'm doing. Dude, you know what I just had happen at the show that I don't know. I mean, this is so crazy that this happened at a show. I'm in Baltimore and doing a great venue there, like the Lyric, and it's probably 30 minutes into the show, and somebody says something, and it's a theater. There's, I don't know, 2,500 or some people at the show. So, but somebody says something on like a pause, right? So everybody hears it. Sometimes you navigate whether to deal with something or not. And the bigger the rooms get, you ignore things. This person says it like, "Why is Bert fat?" or something like, "Because he eats too much." I don't fucking know, right? But my response made other people go, "Oh, this is when we can."
Oh no,
right?
I've had that happen.
Right,
Yeah.
so they start saying other things like podcast jokes or bikes and like shit from like other stand-up shows, and I'm like, okay. And then at one point, it happens, like 10 people in a row. I go, do you want to keep doing the show, or do you want me to not do this? And they're all like, yeah, we'll do the show. And when I say that, another guy jumps in from the balcony with another comment, like, do you like Old Bay on your crab or, something like that? And I go, I hope you die in a house fire or something like aggressive and rude. And people laugh, and and then I turn back and I just continue with the show. But moments after that, when you don't even hear something, you feel commotion.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like an energy. You're like, so I'm up there and I'm moving on, and I'm like, what is that? But I don't say it. Because I just got through dealing with chaos. But I feel it, and I look up there, and I'm just like, whatever. And it kind of dies down after a moment, and I just keep doing the show. So when I get off stage, I see Dave Oken, who you met, my tour manager who was at the party, and he's like, you're not going to believe what happened. I go, where? He goes, up in the balcony. I go, oh, yeah, I sensed that something was going on there. He goes, a guy pulled his dick out and started pissing on people in the audience. And I'm like, what? What? And he goes, yeah, but what we learn is that he was aiming for somebody, but sprayed a bunch of other people. And the reason we know this is that one of the people that got some collateral damage is a friend of another guy I work with on the tour, Keir. So he's like, yeah, my friend was sitting in that section, and he goes, I see this guy pull his dick out, right? And what we learn is, remember the guy that said the thing, and I'm like, I hope you die in a house fire?
Yeah.
The guy behind him was like, you don't fuck with Tom's show. So he's on my side. He's like, I got Tom's back. And starts to piss on him. And then ends up pissing on a bunch of people. And I go, wait, what did you do? He goes, well, we all were like, get this guy the fuck out of here. So then security comes over. That's the commotion. It was like people were like trying to get security. They thought that the guy who got pissed on was the culprit. So they go to grab him. And he's like, I just got pissed on. Go get that guy. But it takes them a second to figure it out. And meanwhile, he gets out. And as he gets up to the upper balcony exit area, he runs and he sprints outside, and they don't catch him.
The pisser got free.
The pisser got free, yeah.
But he's on your side.
He's my team, yeah.
He probably just had to really pee bad. And it's like, you know what? I got a fucking idea.
I'll get the heckler.
Yeah, I'll just pee on the heckler because I have to pee anyway. Because if he's getting it everywhere, that's a heavy stream.
That is a heavy stream, yeah.
Right? He's just spraying.
Yeah. I was at one of the Boston venues, and they told me after the show, they're like, sometimes they'll tell me, we had 3 ejections or 12. It's like, they'll tell me that
Yeah.
after the show. Like, yeah, we had to eject a guy from the upper balcony. He just squatted forward and pissed on the floor. So he didn't want to get up. So they're like, there's just
piss
everybody's
everywhere.
like, what is this? And then everyone's like, it's this guy who's pissing in the seat.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
people are fucking animals.
They're animals. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
One
so
other
crazy.
venue, they said that a guy he left the aisle and then just went to the corner, like just pissed in the corner of the theater. And they're like, what are you doing? He just didn't. He's like, I don't want to go out and miss the show. So crazy.
Imagine someone doing that at your house.
I know.
People are out of their fucking minds. That's one thing I'm not looking forward to about owning a club.
Oh, yeah.
Is dealing with people just pissing in corners and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really a thing, right? I mean, it can ruin the movie theater experience when you're like, I don't want to miss this right now. You know? Yeah, you just
Yeah.
can't. No.
That's the other thing I love about watching movies at home.
Yeah.
Pause. Go take a
Of course.
shit. Come back. Perfect.
Have you ever? I mean, I've done it before where I'm about to go on stage and I'm back. It's been not on this tour, but I'm about to go on stage and I'm backstage and I'm like, fuck, I got to piss so bad. And I'll just grab,
Water bottle.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah, I've
Like,
done that
I
before.
have to do it. Yeah.
Ari's done it in the studio 100 times.
In the studio,
Yeah, he pulls out his dick and sticks it in a kombucha bottle.
he always likes pulling out his dick.
He
though.
loves pulling out his dick. He did it the other day. We had a podcast, and he left to go pee, but
Yeah.
he didn't pee in a bathroom. He pissed in a whiskey bottle in the hallway, and we got video footage of it because we have cameras. We
Yeah.
have security cameras. He's like, "Why are you filming me?" I go, "No. We're filming everything because you have security cameras. The real question is, why are you pissing in my hallway?"
He didn't see that. Like,
Look at him.
why couldn't he walk? The bathroom's 10 feet away.
Because he's Ari. It's part of his fun. Part of his fun is he's just completely inappropriate.
The pull your dick out move is usually for having a real nice looking dick, a big one, or comically if you have a very small one. It's like a fun move.
Like a Bobby
too.
Lee move.
Yeah.
So what has he got?
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember. I've seen it before, but I don't really remember it. I dare to say it's not a memorable dick.
It's a regular dick.
Yeah.
It's not a bad dick.
No,
it's
it's
like
not
a pretty
bad.
good sized dick.
Yeah, it's nice.
Got giant balls.
Big balls. That's right.
Yeah, they're crazy. They like hang low.
That's really crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Joey Diaz has the most ridiculous ones.
Yeah.
You seen Joey's balls?
A number of times.
Grapefruit in an old lady's pantyhose.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe them. And I've even requested them. I did during the pandemic. There was a fundraiser for like the store or comedy workers or something, and we were all on this Zoom with people signing in, donating money to them. And we were like, "Hey, will you pull your balls out?" And he was like, "I don't know, I need consent." So we were like,
I need consent.
"Yeah." We were all asking, "Is it
Boy,
okay?" And
this
he was,
is 2022 Joey. I
Yeah.
need consent.
yeah. So we all were like, "Please." Everybody said, "Yes, please." He's like, "All right." And he stood up, pulled him out.
10 years ago,
Yeah.
it would have been greasy. Like, he's serious.
Dude, I know.
Donate now.
Yeah.
What was that for?
It was Comedy Store employees, I think.
Oh, after the pandemic when everything got shut
That
down?
is it looks like a bag of onions. Like somebody was like, "Go to the store and I'm going to make this soup.
Yeah.
Get 6 onions."
Yeah, like garlic.
Yeah.
Like big cloves of garlic.
It's crazy. How do your balls get that big?
Well, I mean, does he go to the doctor?
No.
Who knows what's going on down there? Mm-hmm. I often wonder.
I feel like him and Bert probably have the most like, I don't want to know the results mentality.
Yeah, for sure.
They're like, don't tell me.
Bert got his blood work done. He's like, "Oh, thank God my liver panel's good." Mm-hmm. I'm like, how? How is it possible that it's good?
He got a call, he said, from the cardiologist, and he was in a panic. And then she goes, "I don't know how you did it, but looks good. Go celebrate. Like, go have a good time." He was like, "You just gave me orders to do that? Okay." And then he just, I was like, she doesn't really mean that. It just means congratulations.
We were talking about it today. Like, he is becoming the machine.
Yeah.
He's not Bert Kreischer anymore.
No.
He's now
He's
the machine.
morphed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like how Andrew Silverstein became Dice Clay.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, the Dice Man was part of Dice's act, part of Andrew's act. Andrew had an act where he has great impressions. Dice has fucking fantastic impressions. He used to do John Travolta and a bunch of other people.
You can find them on YouTube. He does really good impressions.
And then he had this character that he created called the Dice Man. And he would put on the leather jacket and then it became his whole act. It became him. Sam Kinison, same thing. He became the Beast. You know, like he even talked about it, how it kind of like ruined his life. Hunter Thompson talked about that. He became Gonzo. He became this guy.
Oh, right.
You know, that they didn't think of him as just a journalist anymore. He was like part of the show.
Yeah.
And they always wanted him to be on acid. And drunk and
Yeah, I see Bert having some of that for sure.
Well, I mean, look at the massive success he's having doing it, which is part of the problem.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if you try to go on stage and not take your shirt off now, that's no longer an option.
No, yeah, it's not an option. That's part of the show.
That's part of the show.
Yeah.
And you got to tell the machine story.
Part of the show.
If you don't tell the machine story.
Yeah. It's like not I remember early on when he started to like really move tickets, and I was like, "Do you tell?" He goes, "I have to tell the machine story." I go, "You don't have to. You can do whatever you want." And he was like, "No, I kind of have to." And I go, "You don't." And then I saw him at a show, and I was like, "Oh no, you have to." They really want to hear it.
Yeah,
they really want to hear it.
How long is that story?
He can do different length versions of it, so he can do an abridged, like a shorter version where it's, if he has to rush through it, I think he can do it in 10 or something, but he can do it as long as 22 or 25.
We were talking about it yesterday on the podcast with Simpson. I convinced him to do that on stage.
Bert?
Yeah, the machine
Oh, yeah,
story.
he gives you full credit. Yeah,
he never wanted it. He was like, I can't tell it on stage.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like, the fuck, you can't. Mm-hmm. You have to. But it's just crazy that this thing that he's most known for, that is literally his personality now, he didn't want to tell on stage.
It's hilarious. I know.
Sometimes, like, your friend has to see it,
yeah.
though. You know, like, I've had conversations with Tony about his act, you know, and I point something out, and he's like, dude, you were right. I'm like, I'm telling you, sometimes your friends notice something that you don't notice. It's just
tags.
Yeah.
You know, tags are crazy. I mean, the thing is, you get suggested bad tags, you know, by people. So sometimes you get off stage, someone's like, you should say this, and, you know, for the most part, you go like, oh, thanks, you know. And you're like, that was fucking terrible.
The worst is when a non-comic tries to offer you suggestions with a bit, and you're like,
shut up. Yeah.
It's like saying to a surgeon, why don't you stitch it like XXXX? If you just don't go straight across, but go back and forth and be tighter.
Sure. Yeah. Some people go, I'll send you some stuff that I think would work for you. And I'm like, okay.
I've had non-solicited stuff sent to me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even read it. Because the last thing I want to do is read something and I have like a parallel idea that I've already started working on, and I read it in this thing, and then I go, oh, God. Mm-hmm. I read this guy's thing, and I have a thing that's on the same subject, you know.
Yeah.
Now some fucking schizophrenic thinks that you're stealing his act.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a big one, and they'll also, you know, they'll suggest ideas. They'll go, I have jokes for you. I'll do the thing, too, where you ever do a set, and then you see another comic doing a set, and they have a bit that you didn't do in the club set, right? So, it's in your act, and they do a similar thing. I'll tell them. I've gone up to them and been like, hey, just so you know, that bit you just did, I want you to know, because you saw me here tonight, that I have a bit about that. Yeah. So you know I didn't get it from you here tonight.
Right.
You know?
And then you have guys that come up to you and go, just so you know I have a similar bit.
Yeah.
And they have a reputation for stealing. Yeah. And you're like, do you really? How convenient that you found a new way to do my bit that seems like yours. Mm-hmm. The worst is when a guy is opening for you and then has new jokes on the same subjects. That happened to two friends of mine. One guy is the opening act, and the other guy is the guy who takes him on the road. And he was on stage, and he was doing this bit, and my friend who takes him on the road had his mouth open like, he's fucking stepping on my material, like totally stepping on the subject matter. And I had to pull him aside. I go, hey, man, like, you know he does that bit.
Right.
And just because you're doing a different bit kinda.
Yeah.
You're doing it on the exact same subject, and you're his opening act.
You can't do it.
You can't do that.
No. Just so people, like, if you're, the way to do it is if you're the opener, you just have a conversation with the headliner of that show. And you just go, are you doing XYZ?
Well, I don't think you have to do that if they hire you. Like if you're a middle act at a comedy club and you're supposed to go up and you do your act, you do your set.
You do, but if you then see the headliner have a topic or the thing that's similar to yours, you either just know not to do it, or you talk to him about it. You know,
Yeah.
Like when you brought me to do a Vegas show, and I was like, hey, are you doing anything in these? And you're like, I am doing this story. I'm going to open with this. So I was like, oh, okay. I just dropped.
Yeah,
my
but you and
bit.
I are friends. Like, imagine if someone was a headliner and they kind of suck.
Yeah.
And you're like trying to become a headliner and you're a
Yeah.
middle act. You might be like, fuck you and fuck your
Sure.
premises. The club hired me to do my time.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, I just believe in, like, if you're middle, your support. You should embrace that role.
Yeah.
You know?
Callan had a conversation with someone once. He had this guy at Midland for him, and the guy was like tanking the show. The guy was like talking to the audience, but kind of tanking the show. And he said to him, he goes, hey man, why are you doing that? Like the other set, you were doing jokes, and now you're like, he goes, I can do whatever the fuck I want. He goes, no, you can't. Now if you do that, you're not going to open for me anymore. It's like you're working for me right now.
Right.
Like if you do that, I don't want you to work for me anymore. He's like, man, my time on stage is my time on stage. He's like,
Oh, okay. Bye.
bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get somebody else. And it was like a big to-do.
Yeah.
But people that aren't, like, sometimes people have like mental breakdowns and they don't want to do their best anymore. Or maybe they just, sometimes the grind of repeated shows can fuck with your perspective. Like there's times where I'm like a little tired and I have to remind myself, Jesus fucking Christ, Rogan, do you know how goddamn lucky you are just to be here, to be doing this? If you couldn't do this, like imagine, I also try to remember how I felt just recently being able to do shows after the pandemic. Like while we were doing shows, I was like, holy shit, we're back. We're fucking back. We're back. The first time we did shows was in the middle of everything. It was July of 2020. We did the Houston Improv because Texas doesn't give a fuck.
That's right.
Everybody had masks on. Some of them were under their nose.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
it was wild. Like everybody was just basically risking COVID.
Yeah, to do that.
But the feeling of crushing again
That was
so wild.
Do you remember, you must remember, when we did, it was a year ago this week, July 4th week of last year, we did MGM
Oh,
Arena.
yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
the first time Vegas was open again.
Yes.
Like fully open.
Yes.
That crowd, those introductions were insanity.
Insanity.
Yeah.
And then COVID kicked in hard again
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
Because then the Delta kicked in.
Right.
And then I wound up getting COVID.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. That was extreme. That was like people were like, holy fuck, it's back.
Yeah,
it's
that really
back.
was. That was not a normal.
What a show that was too. Donnell, you, me, Dave.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was amazing. I'm there Friday night.
Oh, nice.
Same place. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great venue.
I'm fucking pumped. It's Hans Kim, Tony, me, and Brian Simpson.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
This Friday?
Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here all weekend.
Are you really?
I'm
What are you doing?
ACL.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got
nice.
4 there.
Home gig.
The home gig is nice. Sleep at the house.
Oh,
It's pretty great.
dude, you're going so hard.
It is. It's wild.
I don't know anybody who's doing a tour like you. I've never done anything like that.
Nah, I've never even honestly heard of it. Totally. I mean, we tour aggressively, but this is kind of other level.
The name of it though is amazing. I'm
pretty
coming
great.
everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
And we haven't even announced the final leg.
That is so crazy. You have more legs.
Yeah. So we have everything announced through this year domestically. So I do so many. This just so the tour started in 21, right? And just in 22, this year I'll do 198 shows.
Oh my God.
And I think, because I started in August of 21, I think I did 70 something between August and December of last year. And then I do Australia, New Zealand in January, and then I announced the final leg, which is more international shows.
Are you doing mostly theaters, mostly arenas? Are you doing like half and half?
It's a lot of theaters, and then the arenas have started to increase. So I started to do a couple. I have a few Canadian arenas, and then I'm doing 2 ball arenas in Denver, July 23rd and 24th.
Nice.
So that's big. I'm doing
double arenas.
Double arena, Mohegan Sun Arena, and we have a couple others on the books.
Denver's fucking great.
That's my fucking.
I love Denver.
It really is.
I love that town.
I think. I mean, if I wasn't settled here, if you used to go like, where do you want to live? I would live in Denver. I really like it.
If I was going to pick up and move, I think the thing about Denver is there's comedy.
Yeah.
And there's mountains. I mean, it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. You get
People are cool.
Proper 4 seasons, like you get to experience it all.
Great restaurants.
Great restaurants. People are cool as shit. It's a really nice mix of everything.
The homeless thing's out of control there, though.
In Denver?
Yeah, they have a very liberal mayor, and they're nuts.
What did we do with them here?
We killed
when
them.
I got. Did we throw them in the river?
No, the river's not going to get polluted by homeless people.
Oh, I remember when I got here. It was the library, like on Cesar Chavez, was
totally taken over,
completely taken over.
Yeah.
And then just one day you drive by and you're like, what happened here?
They did a good job. They fixed it. They brought them into shelters. They bought hotels. They spent a lot of money, and they cleaned it up. And they cleaned it up substantially, like no other city that I've ever been a part of. And it was just a great relief that this city is doing the right thing.
Yeah,
they got them shelter. They took care of them.
Yeah.
And they moved them out of the streets. You can't litter on the street.
Right.
You also can't camp there.
Sure.
Both those things are true. And
but you have to have a solution, right?
Yeah.
You can't just be like, well, you can't do this, and we have no option for
right.
you. So
no, they did a good job.
Yeah,
they really did.
I did notice because I was in L.A. Last week, because I was always kind of floored by the location of it, right? Which I don't know how that would sound to some people, but just when you there's always been a homeless presence downtown, for instance. Downtown Los Angeles, you just go, this is like a lot of major cities downtowns, and there's a presence here.
Yeah.
And then, you always had it in Venice, for instance, also, right? That was just like an area you would always have homelessness. But there was a camp set up in Brentwood, which I was like, wow, this feels like a real indication of the extreme level of this.
Yeah.
It's because Brentwood, for somebody that doesn't know, is one of the enclaves of Los Angeles that is like just really high end. It's an elite.
It's where OJ killed his wife.
OJ killed his wife there. Other people have died there. It's a wonderful area, but it is. It is a status area to live in.
Yeah.
And you take this off San Vicente, and there's the military cemetery there, and the camp was all along there as the road turned, and it was just like
out of control.
Out of control.
They've given up.
Yeah,
I went there the other
that
day.
one's gone now.
That one's
gone.
Really?
That's what I was very surprised by. I don't know where people were relocated to, if they did any of the things we're talking about, but that one, at least when I went there that day, I was expecting it. I was like, oh, it's gone. So I don't know where it went.
They have porta potties in the underpasses now.
They do?
Yep.
Holy shit.
I went to LA for a couple days last week for your wife's birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good fucking time.
It was fun.
That was a good time. I got a little too high.
So did I.
Daddy got a little too high. Woo.
I was in that.
Blistered.
I was in that. She asked me, she's like, where have you been? I was like, just getting high in the fucking.
Yeah, we were high as fuck.
On the balcony.
Yeah, we were high as fuck. But it was fun. It was just a fun party.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, while we were driving to there, we ate at Mother Wolf. You ever eat at Mother Wolf? It's a fucking new place in LA that's run by the same head chef as Felix in Venice.
Yeah, which is really.
It's just as good as Felix. Like that.
Where
level.
is Mother Wolf?
Mother Wolf is on Wilcox. Thank you.
So proper Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. Anyway, so we take the off ramp, and then we're on the underpass, and there's porta potties. Not one either, like 4, like a deck of porta potties. And then someone has a car parked there on the sidewalk, like partly on the sidewalk. So they're like half blocking a lane, and then they have like a canopy draped over their car, and they have just stacks of shit. And then next to it was a dresser. They had a dresser.
Jesus.
So they had their shoes in a shoe rack. There was a shoe rack. Like, this is where they live.
That's really wild. I didn't know also that, when you see stuff like that on the streets, at least in Los Angeles or maybe in California, that's protected property, like by law. You know that? Like if you were
so you're not supposed to do that.
But but like that's that person's property by law. If you were to
the
go,
homeless person's property is
Yes.
protected?
Yes, absolutely.
Huh.
If you were to go and try to move that or take that,
You'd get arrested.
Yeah, yeah.
Hilarious. Mm-hmm. But they wouldn't arrest you if you shot somebody. Maybe you should just go and shoot the homeless people.
I like your ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if nobody claims it, I mean, nobody does anything about violent crime in LA anymore. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
They're just letting people out. You know? That guy that killed Ted Sarandos' mother-in-law, he had just gotten out.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Real piece of shit. Yeah, just people that are just full-on career criminals, and it's bad. I mean,
I just read about the guy that he killed a Subway worker. You saw that? Over too much mayo?
Yep.
He had just gotten out.
Shot her in front of her daughter.
He's a career criminal, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much mayo.
I like mayo. That's why
I love it too.
Really stuck
I
with
like
me.
a juicy Subway sandwich.
That story really stuck with me.
Do you know the bread in Subway sandwich has so much sugar you can't legally call it bread?
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a pastry. Yeah, pull that up.
Eat fresh, man. That's their fucking
Remember
slogan.
when Jared, the pedophile, was eating bread from Subway and claiming that that's
Do you
how
remember that he was my buddy and that I have his phone number?
Oh, that's right.
We shot commercials together.
Jesus Christ, that's
We split a
crazy.
pizza at the W Hotel in New York.
That's crazy.
He was like, his friend said, the executives are pissed. They say Jared's gaining weight. I'm like, what? You look great. They're like, no, he's put on a few. Because they go, we can only do this campaign with you if you're always, yeah.
How much did he lose total?
Man, I think he was 500 pounds and he got down to like the low twos. So he probably lost over 250 pounds, yeah.
Subway rolls ruled too sugary to be bread in Ireland.
That is hilarious.
Pull it down with the article. Ireland's highest court made the ruling in the case about how bread is taxed. An Irish franchise, the U.S. company, had claimed that it should not pay VAT on the rolls it uses in its heated sandwiches, but the court ruled that because the level of sugar in the rolls, they cannot be taxed as bread, which classified as a staple product with zero VAT. I don't know what VAT is.
That's a tax, VAT, tax act.
Under Ireland's VAT Tax Act of 1972, ingredients in bread such as sugar and fat should not exceed 2% of the weight of flour in the dough.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
By the way, the funniest quote is the Subway spokesperson. Subway's bread is, of course, bread.
Look at what they say. The sugar content is 10% of the flour in the dough for both white and whole grain rolls. 10% is crazy.
Yeah, that is.
Shouldn't have any fucking sugar in there.
Yeah.
Why does it have 10%?
That is.
It's a pastry.
Yeah.
Subway's bread is, of course, bread.
We have been breaking bread.
Fresh bread in our stores for more than 3 decades, and our guests return each day for sandwiches made on bread that smells as good as it tastes.
Dude, look at that. The rolls are now subject to tax at 13.5%. Wow. So if you're, working out your margins there, that's a big increase from what it was, right? Like,
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Yeah, you're like, I think we got to remake this bread, man.
Yeah, just make regular bread.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people would buy less Subway sandwiches if it was no sugar in their bread?
Maybe you don't know. If you're used to that taste, you don't know how it's, you don't know how it's made. And if they do that, you'd be like, the fuck is up with this bread? And like, well, we cut the 35 grams of sugar we were putting in. It's like, oh.
Yeah, 10%. If it's 10% of the flour is sugar, what is, does normal bread, do they add sugar?
I want to say
I think white bread definitely has sugar in it.
some, right?
Well, like Wonder Bread, but that's not really bread.
Oh, it's delicious.
I mean, it's kind of bread, but Wonder Bread is basically pastry.
Yeah, because that's a very sweet tasting
Yeah.
bread.
Oh my
So,
God,
yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Wonder Bread with peanut butter and jelly is fucking fantastic.
one slice, 1.5 grams.
For white bread.
Yeah.
For one
Yeah.
bread.
Oh, that's from
Well, it just says white
USDA.
bread.
Yeah.
Does it say how many grams are in a Subway
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, look at that. Companies reviewing the ruling. A 6-inch Subway roll contains 3 to 5 grams of sugar. That's not that
That doesn't
bad.
seem that crazy.
Except for gluten-free, which has 7. Oh, interesting. They added more sugar to gluten-free.
It seems like that Irish Supreme Court could have been just a little bit of a
Scam?
a scam to like, let's increase that tax rate a little bit.
Yeah,
You know?
probably.
Let's get that bread tax up.
I mean, they have a known history in the UK of being a little tax happy.
Tax, yeah.
Remember those days?
Oh yeah, sure.
We had to show them the fucking what's what.
What's what, dog?
Yeah, bro.
And then there's
Tea party.
there's the big tax loophole that exists in Ireland, right? Which corporations funnel their money through them.
Oh yeah. What is that? What's the loophole?
So I believe the loophole has to do with, you know, if you route your money through certain countries, and they have laws that allow it, they allow you to go like, our money is actually deposited here. They collect a tax on it, but it's far less than what they would pay if they kept it, let's say, here. Oh. So they end up, it's essentially housing that money there to pay less tax. So I believe it's the Irish, it's called like an Irish corporate tax loophole or something like that.
Just so many tax loopholes.
But it's a big one. And they've, like, you know, there's American politicians who have like lobbied to try to get that done away with, like ban the ability to do that so that people would have to pay more taxes here. But so far,
the problem with paying more taxes is they're just going to find more ways to spend your money. I don't necessarily think it's going to make anything better. You know, I think the bureaucracy in this country is so clogged up and fucked up and ineffective. I don't think they would be better if if we all just gave 75% taxes.
yeah.
They're not going to fix the streets. They're not going to cure the homeless problem, fix all the crime.
They would just figure out more ways to spend. Yeah.
They'll find new ways to tell you that the rich people are not paying their share, so you turn on them.
Yeah.
You ever see, there's like I love memes. I've been fucking meme happy lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so funny. It's like when things are gone crazy. Like I love memes because it just seems like that's the shit that
They
makes,
sometimes summarize things perfectly.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But someone just sent me one about. I'm gonna find it for you. About people with pitchforks turning on the people with torches. Hold on a second. I'm fucking this up.
It's all good.
Bro, my vision is dog shit.
Mine too. It gets worse
It's getting so bad.
all the time.
I mean, if I don't, I'm not going to find it. If I don't wear reading glasses, oh, here it is. I can barely see. Those, you know, those little things, the little squares on your iPhone
Yeah.
of the images. I have to make the image full size.
Yeah.
I can't figure out what that little thing is.
Yeah. I've gotten to the point where if any type of thing is written on the phone,
Yeah.
I have to enlarge or wear glasses. I can't just read the
So this one's like a cartoon. Oh, no, you don't need to fight them. You just need to convince the pitchfork people that the torch people want to take away their pitchforks.
oh yeah,
It's real.
it's real.
I mean, this is what they would do if you got more taxes. I guess that's not a meme. That's a cartoon.
Yeah, but same idea basically.
So are you aware of that Russian Popeye guy? The guy who gets...
Russian Popeye?
yeah, he's this guy who is addicted to
Colombian
plastic
Popeye.
surgery.
No. Oh no, is this guy who I've seen a photo of that? Like his face is.
He's doing
so
crazy
fucking
stuff to
crazy.
his face, but also doing stuff to his arms.
Yeah, they
So-
look good.
Look, his arm looks like seriously infected. His left arm, I mean,
Yep.
I don't know what's going on there, but he's injecting his arms with something like oil or something. Maybe it's synthol. So I've read somewhere that it was petroleum jelly that he's doing. He's like literally insane.
This is like complete mental illness. I mean,
100%. Well, if you look at his the translations of his posts, it's all "I am a very attractive man. I'm very handsome and very confident." Like
Sure.
And so his new ones is
Most guys like
injecting
that
his
say
fin-
that. You know.
Oh yeah, all the good-looking ones.
Yeah. I'm very good looking, and I'm
Look at
very
it.
confident.
He's doing to his face. Look at that
Fuck.
face, the big one. So he's doing this to his face now, which is weird when you hear him talk because he's got this heavy Russian accent. What is his face, man? I mean, look at that.
That's not good.
He's got.
Как же это красиво.
Oh man.
He's got makeup on too. For
He
sure.
does.
Definitely got lipstick on.
Все доделано как надо. Все идет по плану.
There's no way those lips wouldn't feel good.
On your cock?
Yeah.
Maybe.
You don't think that would feel good? Come on. Like if you just covered everything else up.
You wouldn't even have to cover everything up. Because he looks kind of like a crazy girl.
He does. He looks like a real crazy girl.
Let me see his face, full face. Like,
yeah.
if you get fake eyelashes on that dude and long hair, you could pretend.
Yeah. I have before. All right.
Hey.
Cheers,
Oh,
everybody.
hey.
Number 2, New York Times bestseller. How you doing?
Hey. You're number 2, huh?
I was. I think I'm 7 this week.
Who's number 1? When
It
you were
is
number 2.
It was Fox and Friends host, and it's like Reshape the American Mind.
Oh, yeah.
Those
are the people who read.
It's got the Christian emblem next to it, like lets you know it's a Christian-friendly book, and it's in every store, you know.
Did you know that when the printing press was first made, most of the really popular books were like how to spot witches?
No.
Yeah. I always thought like books. Oh,
Yeah.
the old books. Like we're going to pass down our knowledge of mathematics and geometry.
Yeah.
And this is how you build a house.
Yeah.
No, the early books were like the really popular ones, like how to spot witches.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
But
Did
it only
you know
makes sense.
that they're down to 2 printing press houses in America now?
What?
So it used to be a thing where if we all wrote books and you're like, when's it going to print? And they'd be like, when it's done. We don't care. Now you have to get a slot. Like you're talking about like a hardcover book. And because there's only 2 left, if you lose, let's say you're like, oh, my book's not ready or whatever happens, and pull out. Now you have to wait for everybody who already has a slot to print before you can get another one.
Oh.
So it becomes a thing where the deadline to print becomes extremely important.
How many did there used to be?
So many more, to the point where it was never an issue. You would never be like, well, we can't get a slot. I know this because when I had my deadline, I called them the night before, and I was like, I'm not going to make the deadline tomorrow. And they're like, you have to. And I'm like, but I won't. Because it's not done. And they were like, you really have to. And I go, well, let's push it, and then we can get a new date to print, and we'll just push the release. And I pitched this whole thing, and they got back to me the next day. They go, you have 1 week. They gave me an extra week to finish it. Wow. And I just wrote night and day.
Did you take Adderall?
I didn't. I'd never taken it.
I haven't either, but I would think about it for that.
Yeah. That would make me hyper. I've never done it.
My wife took it once. She told me it's crazy.
Super focused.
She
right?
said she only took like a half of one. Her friend was like, just take the whole one.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to try a half one. She's like,
yeah,
she's cleaning her closet.
Yeah.
Grinding her teeth.
I could use that. I don't mind that. I could use that type of focus.
I am terrified of speed because I'm terrified that I would enjoy it. You know?
I like the Kratom. Have you taken that?
I have taken Kratom.
Have you taken it as a pre-workout?
No. Well, yes. Well, I've taken it as a bunch of different things, but you know Chris and Mark Bell? Yeah, we were talking about him the other day. So Chris Bell's the one who turned me on to it.
That's who turned me on to it.
And so he tells me if you take a small amount, it's sort of like a mild stimulant, like a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But if you take a larger amount, it has a different effect. So I go, well, how many do you take? And he goes, well, before I work out, I take 10. I go, 10?
What?
10?
I didn't know that.
You take 10? I go, so I take 10. So I took 10. And I was high as fuck. I was high as fuck.
Wait, did you take 10 vials?
10 pills.
10 pills, okay.
Yeah.
Because the vials, the liquid form.
Oh, the liquid form.
is
Oh, my
more
God.
potent.
Oh, yeah, that would be crazy. No,
I
these
take one of the, I've been doing it for a couple weeks.
Yeah?
And I feel fucking ready to go after that. I
Does
love
it make you feel like you're ready to work out? Like you feel better?
I do.
Yeah? Like more energy?
Uh-huh.
It's a weird drug.
It's a weird drug, though, because if I'm being totally honest, I also feel more confident on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm just like, I don't know.
Feel more confident. But that's good, right?
I think it's good for going into a workout. Yeah.
What's it bad for?
It just makes me laugh because you say that and somebody goes, "You mean like cocaine?" And I'm like, "I guess so."
But it's kind of like an opiate, right?
I mean, I've heard different commentary about it, but
Yeah.
I just know that I really liked it for their stuff. Mind Bullet. I really liked it.
Yeah. That it made me nervous when I tried 10.
10. You might
dude,
want to dial that back.
I'm like,
but
you're
you also
getting-
like, I'm going to do a cold plunge for 25 minutes. So Might be something in your brain doing that.
Well, I just wanted to see what he was experiencing. He was telling me he was doing 10. I was only doing 2 on my own.
Okay.
Because I think maybe it even said it on the label. I don't
Yeah.
remember. But I was doing 2, and I was like, gives me kind of like a good feeling. I like
Yeah.
it. Like, it was like a good cup of coffee.
Chris is one of those guys who, because I worked out with him in Sacramento, he can just go in there, on a moment's notice and still pull 500-600 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. He's 50-something years old.
Chris or Mark?
Chris.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's a lot. He's not
Yeah.
a big guy.
I know. Strong dude. Just has that
And he has
switch.
fake hips.
Does he?
Yeah, he had his hips.
Mark is
redone.
still super fucking strong, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 10 is, you're getting high.
Yeah.
You're getting high. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, it's a wild high. It's
Well,
like
I
this
feel
kind
like
of high, like, ooh.
That vial, if I had taken another one, I might be like that, too. Loopy.
Yeah, but that's what it does. It's weird. It's like it has a different effect with low dose than it does with high dose.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like with low dose you get confident and a little pick me up, but high dose you get even more confident, more pick me up. Like,
Sure.
no, I was high. I was high like wee.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any motor control issues. Like everything moved perfect.
Sure.
It wasn't like I was impaired.
But you did you finish that going, I don't want to do this again?
Yeah, I never did it again. Never touched it again.
Do you
was
like any pre-workout?
I don't generally. Generally, I'll take a Kill Cliff. I like Kill Cliff.
Okay.
Because it's like 150 milligrams, just B12 in it. 150 milligrams caffeine, like Kill Cliff Ignite. I like those pre-workouts. But I feel like all I really need is to get sweaty. Once I get going, then I'm good.
I have that thing. Like, I mean, it's not probably that unique, but the feeling of breaking a real sweat just from lifting is so much more like rewarding
I know what you're
than
saying.
from cardio,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
Because cardio, you go like, I'm definitely going to sweat as long as
Right.
but you can do a lifting regimen where if you do it at a certain pace, you might not sweat,
Right.
but you still have like a pump going.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get after it with weights and you really start sweating, I think it's one of the best feelings.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a very anxiety relieving feeling.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 types of lifting, right? There's like lifting heavy, like rock and raw, and with big pauses in between your sets.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get too sweaty for that.
No.
Doing like sets of 2 and 3.
Yeah.
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 But I don't really do that. The heaviest thing I lift is 70 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. Occasionally, I'll do deadlifts with more or squats with more. And when
Yeah.
I say 70 pounds, I mean a 70-pound kettlebell. I might use 2.
Yeah.
But it's like 70 pounds with each hand.
That's what I was carrying when my knee popped the other day, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, oof.
I was carrying a dumb. I was doing rows, and I had it in my hand. Just, it's fine. I mean, it was fine for the rows, and I go to move, and I don't pivot. Like my left leg stayed planted, and I just felt pop, and I was like, it's the knee that I had injured before.
Yeah.
And it was a good 4 days.
Serious
of anxiety.
injury. I mean,
serious,
for people
serious
that don't
injury,
know, that there's a video of it online. We don't need to watch it again.
Yeah, but it's a patellar tendon tear.
Yeah.
And so you have to repair that. But my knee also swelled up. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I got so nervous about it. I got it x-rayed, got it examined, got an MRI.
Yeah.
And they go, I think you just tore a bunch of scar. There's so much scar tissue there. So they go, you tore scar tissue.
I don't even want to get my knee MRI'd. My knee that's caused me problems.
Really?
I just want to keep juicing up with stem cells.
Yeah.
Hope
Stem
for the
cell
best.
parties. Yeah.
It's working. It's definitely better. 100%. It's just I gotta not kick with it. That's the whole deal. I just
Yeah.
can't
There's
kick.
too much torque in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too much.
Yeah.
It's
Makes
just
sense.
and I can't just half-ass
Well,
it.
my PT, because I saw her when I was in LA, she goes, like, are you doing lunges? And I go, yeah. She goes, are you fucking stupid? And I'm like, what? And she goes, are you a fucking dumbass or something? I go, no.
Did she talk to you like that because you're a comic?
No, she just had Dr. Karen. She just has that.
That's her?
Karen Joubert, yeah. She has that personality. And I mean, we're friends. So we've hung out, we've socialized a bunch. She's great. But she goes, you're doing lunges like a fucking idiot? And I was like, I guess so. I go, hey, you never told me not to do lunges, and neither did anybody else. She goes, I mean, look at the movement of your knee when you're doing a lunge, dummy. Of course you're going to fuck up your patella. I was like, all right. She goes, no more lunges.
Well, how long has it been since the surgery?
That surgery was a year and a half.
And you still can't do lunges?
She just said that it's really best to that the torque you put on the knee on a full lunge, especially like a weighted walking lunge, is a lot for a patella, for patellar tendon. So she's like, you can do squats, you can do deadlifts. She goes,
So
just stay
never
with-"
do lunges again?
I
Is
mean,
that what
maybe
she's
if
saying?
it was because they like the doctor said, it's so funny when I got injured, they go, orthopedic injuries, full year. Everyone said a year.
Yeah.
And a year, that's what it takes. You got to need a full year to recover. You need a full year. Okay. I go in the other day when I had this scare, and he goes, yeah, your left quad's coming back pretty good. It's not where the right quad is, but I can tell you've been lifting, and this is good. I go, yeah. He goes, it takes 2 years before your quad comes back. I go, when did we add another fucking year to this? And he's like, oh, that's what it takes for a quad to really come back. 2 years. I go, oh, so now we're on a 2-year plan. Okay. So,
But how do athletes do it? Because it doesn't take 2 years for them.
I don't know. I mean, I think ACL stuff might be a little different, or maybe the regimen they put them through. I'm not sure. I just, this is just what they told me. And they just said, maybe strengthen it up even more before you get into lunges. But yeah, she was pretty.
Tendon is a big fucking tendon.
It's a big one. Yeah. I mean, what happens is too, it's pretty obvious, but when that tendon tears, your patella just goes floating and you have no hinge ability. Yeah. So it's just a leg that doesn't move because you don't have a knee.
Right.
So it's just completely useless. And then you can't move it when the surgery comes, when you're recovering from it, you can't move it at all. Like, when you do ACL repair, you're able to walk on it like after a few weeks, and you're able to then, 10 weeks later, but you're in a straight brace for the patellar for like 6-8 weeks.
I went to a party without crutches 5 days after my ACL surgery.
Okay.
I just put a knee brace on and I was walking around.
There you go.
I worked out real hard. I was in really good shape. I was doing jiu-jitsu a lot, and I popped my ACL, and then I got it fixed within 2 weeks. It was really quick.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I didn't do any meniscus tear on that knee at all. It was just it wasn't a normal way of tearing it. It was jiu-jitsu, and I was in what's called half guard in a lockdown, and I was trying to pass this guy his half guard, and he extended his legs, and instead of my leg being locked out like this, my leg was locked out sideways. So it just snapped, and it sounded like a carrot.
It did?
Yeah, like that, loud.
And that was the ACL?
Yeah, and it didn't even hurt. That's what was crazy.
How about, could you walk when you stood up? Like when you...
Totally. I got up, and my knee was a little stiff, and I kept rolling. I kept training.
Jesus Christ.
And then I was in my office. I think I stopped early, though. I think I stopped training early because it was starting to like stiffen up. And I was like, maybe this is something. Because it doesn't hurt, but maybe it's something. Meniscus tears hurt like a motherfucker.
Yeah, that's what they were telling me.
But sometimes tendons and ligaments, they don't really hurt.
Yeah.
It's weird. Then I was in my office just moving some shit around, and my leg just went toink. It just buckled. And I had already torn my left ACL like 10 years prior, so I knew what it was. I was like, God damn it. So luckily, I went in, and I had already seen this doctor because he had cleaned up my meniscus in my left knee. And I went to him, and he's like, dude, you need surgery. I go, when can you get me in? He's like, 10 days. I go, okay, we're good. So 10 days later, I had surgery, and 5 days after that, I went to my friend Matt's birthday party. He's like, I thought you just had knee surgery. I go, I did.
I did.
Feel good.
Wow.
He's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, I've got a brace on.
That's wild.
I was walking around. Didn't bother me at all. I didn't even have any pain medication. Nothing.
And you were exercising shortly after that?
I did jiu-jitsu 6 months later.
6 months later.
Yeah, it took 6 months of training, but I rehabbed it hard. I didn't rehab the left one that good because that was like in my 20s and I was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But I was so into jiu-jitsu when I was in my 30s that when I blew that ACL out, I was doing bodyweight squats in the shower, like deep bodyweight squats in the shower, like just days after surgery. Wow. I was like, I am going to break this tissue up. I'm like, I know my left leg is really strong and I can hold the position. And my legs are strong. I've been working out a lot, so I know I can like do stuff like this. So I'm just gonna slowly make sure that, because I have a friend, my friend Jen, she got her knee done up in Canada. Shout out to Jen Rivet. She got her knee done up in Canada, and I don't know if it was a bad doctor or a bad situation, but she developed scar tissue that was so bad that she couldn't fully extend her knee. So they had to put her under. So they put her under after the surgery, like a long time afterwards, to try to straighten her knee out to break up the scar tissue. And they did it in like this insanely painful way that you can only do if someone's out
fully
cold.
out, yeah.
Still didn't work.
Didn't work?
Nope. So her knee doesn't fully lock out. Her knee never goes like that. Her
It goes
leg,
like
yeah, it goes like this.
close.
So she
Wow.
kind of walks with a limp, and I'm like, God damn it. When I see shit like that, and she's younger than me, I see shit like that, I'm like, well, that's how you blow your hip out, because you're favoring one knee,
Sure.
and you put pressure on your other knee. Your whole body's like out of balance if you have something wrong like that.
Yeah.
And, whenever I talk to anybody that's had any kind of surgery like that, I'm like, you gotta keep that fucking leg moving. You can't just sit around.
Yeah.
You can't just sit around and let it heal and let
Yeah.
it heal like and lock up.
Well, I'm so glad it was scar tissue.
Yeah, I
So
know.
glad.
That's so lucky. So I don't even know if you finished saying that. So it was just the scar tissue that popped in your knee when you had that thing recently.
Yeah, because everything was intact. I mean, first it was x-rays, and they did this manual
MRI.
exam where they move your leg around, and they're like, does this hurt? Can you do this? Can you extend? Can you resist? And, past that, and then, the MRI, and they go, it was scar tissue. So, thankfully.
That's very lucky.
Oh, my God. I was just panicked about being laid up again. I was like,
I know
fuck.
multiple guys who have had an ACL, had it fully repaired, and then went too hard too quick and then blew it out again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I knew by the time, like 6 months after, I did two different ways that I did it. On this side, I had what's called a patella tendon graft, where they take a piece of your patella out, and you can see the scar on this one. It goes like this here. They take a piece of the patella with a piece of your shin bone and a piece of your kneecap, and then they open you up like a fish, and then they drill in that and drill in that, and this patella tendon replaces your ACL. But on this one, I did a cadaver, and this one they used an Achilles tendon from a cadaver, and it's 150% stronger than a regular ACL.
Whoa.
Yeah. So this one,
Didn't know that.
this one's good to go, son.
It
I'm
really
kicking
is.
through walls with this
That one, but not the
Yeah.
other one.
Well, the other one, I had some meniscus damage, and they repaired it initially, but repairing for regular people and repairing for kicking are just two different things. The amount of torque.
Right, walking around is different.
Yeah.
than-
Walking around, it probably would have been fine.
yeah.
But there's just too much twisting and
Yeah.
yanking. And, kicking is so, especially spinning,
Yeah.
there's so much torque on your knees. There's so much going on, driving into things. And
Sure.
It's hard. I don't want to get my knees replaced. That's what I don't want. Because I know, like, Michael Bisping had both his knees replaced. I know my friend Steve Graham, he had both his knees replaced on multiple times. He's
So
had-
you're going to dial it back with kicking with that leg, right?
For a while. That's why I went today to get the stem cells.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ways to Well.
Shout out Ways to Well.
They're great.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Fantastic. I brought friends.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
nice. I mean, stem cells, all those biologics, like it's such a game changer because it can heal things in a way that you just did not have access to before stem cells.
Yeah. Sure.
It's amazing. I mean, it already feels better. Like, he's been doing it for the last couple months, injecting it, and it feels way better. It was hurting going upstairs, and I was like, God damn it. Because I just know where this road goes.
Fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the road goes also to a weakened leg. So I make sure that I do a lot of stuff on that leg.
Yeah.
I've been very, very diligent about the knees over toes program.
Yeah.
I have that torque sled. I pull that motherfucker backwards
I
almost
got,
every day.
I'm supposed to get that sled tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the shit.
Yeah.
That thing's the shit.
I used it at Bell's place. They had one. So, and I loved it.
you didn't see the gym here?
Oh, I saw it.
Oh, did you?
It's fucking wild.
Isn't it cool?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool as
Did you see the
fuck.
archery range?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's nuts what you have here.
Yeah. Yoga room, sauna, cold plunge.
Crazy.
Float
This is your
tank.
personal gym.
It's dope.
Yeah, it's dope.
Well,
as
other
fuck.
people use it,
Yeah.
Security guys use it. And
Yeah.
Curtis comes in.
Fucking, I'm coming by, man.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. Come on down. Have a workout. It's awesome. I love having it. It's just a beautiful thing to have. It's like, it's also a fun thing to do with guys before you do a podcast.
Sure.
Get a workout in.
Yeah.
Sweat.
It's great.
Yeah, I'm going to offer like yoga classes for people that want to come and do a
Really?
podcast. Like say, hey, the podcast starts at 1, but if you'd like, we're going to do yoga at 10 a.m. Come on down, get
That's
a little
great.
yoga class in, that
Yeah.
kind of shit.
Are you still doing a lot of yoga?
I haven't been, but
No.
I want to. That's why I put the
I really
yoga
enjoyed
in.
when we did that. I mean, it was a
The
whole
challenge?
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like not even the challenge aspect. I mean, that was cool too. But getting into something that I didn't really do before, and I do miss it. I like
Yeah.
the feeling of completing one of those
Yeah.
classes.
Yeah, we got to get Bert on the Sober October train this year. We can't miss this one. He needs to get sober.
I'm down.
because I want to see. I mean, he's so much more of a drunk than he's ever been before. Right? Wouldn't you agree?
He's out of control.
He's out of control.
What happens is he, it's not unlike, I think, anybody that maybe tours, is that his wheels fall off on tour. I mean, that happens to a lot of people. You get home, you get grounded, or at home, but he tours a lot.
Yeah.
So what happens is, the party guys on the road, it's going to be a fucking party.
Yeah, he put a post on the Instagram. He texted me too, telling me about it. He's like, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this. I got my goals and this and that and this. And then he goes, but I'm back on the road in 2 weeks. I'm like, bitch, you ain't doing shit.
I'm getting jacked this month.
He's going to have one hard workout, and he's going to be really tired, and he's like, I deserve a drink.
Yeah, he's so crazy.
There's a video of him that he put up on his Instagram, and I think it's from him on this podcast, talking about how much he loves drinking. I'm never going to quit drinking.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love when someone says,
he gives
do you
a
want to
couple
get mimosas?
speech. He has a couple of those.
I know what it was from. It was from some. It's called like the Sunday podcast.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, where he does this really.
Yeah, he's done on this one too.
But on that one, he does it
almost-
where it feels like a coach.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like halftime.
Yeah.
We're gonna win this fucking
He's
championship.
evangelizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does this thing sometimes where he's totally serious. Where we'll be together. I'm like, "How you doing?" Like we just first sat down. "How you doing?" He's like, "Good. Haven't drank in a while. Feel good. Gotta go." I go, "When was the last time you drank?" And he'll go, "Tuesday." And I'm like, "That's not that long ago. That's 2 days ago." Yeah.
Is this him?
Drinking.
Yeah.
I will never quit drinking. I will always make sure that I can keep my body healthy enough so that I can always drink. I love seeing a sunrise with a cocktail, seeing a sunset with a cocktail, having friends walk into your house with a bottle of wine, getting on a plane. Can I get you something? Double Jack on the rocks, lots of rocks. I love the moment someone says, "Hey, we should get a drink," and you're not supposed to. That feeling, it's like a first kiss. You don't get that first kisses when you're married. You get to have those first drinks. At a brunch, someone goes, "Should we do mimosas?" And then the waiter goes, "Actually, we have bottomless mimosas." And you're like, "This is gonna be the best day ever."
Dude, you just hyped me the fuck up. You just hyped me up, bro. That was like a locker room speech.
Yeah.
That's pretty inspirational.
I should speak at AA meetings.
He's crazy. But it's also, he's built different.
He really is. Actually,
he would
really
be a
is.
fucking hell of an athlete if he wasn't a drunk.
That's the total 100% truth.
Like when you played him tennis.
Fucking unbelievable.
Yes.
It wasn't even, and here's the thing, he didn't really prepare for that. And he also showed up hungover and with beers on him. Like in his hoodie pouch. And I was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "I'm pretty hungover." What it was too, because he actually has he was a really good baseball player, right? He has really good hand-eye coordination. And that his serve was, I'm not joking, it was phenomenal.
Really?
His serve was phenomenal. For somebody that's also not actively playing, and he could do things, like he could do kick serves and like he could put spin on it, and he was serving impressive for anybody who plays tennis, but especially for someone who's not even playing all the time. Yeah. That's let me see. This is like,
Give me some volume.
let me see if he's like,
Nope, didn't like that one.
he's maybe, but this is like him still figuring it out, right? That's not an example.
Did we just start this match off with an ace? Did we just hit the fucking...
He gets so much, and this is my fucking gay serve. Hold on. This is like, okay, this is really bad. But
I can't play tennis at all, so
well, this was
I'm
like
impressed.
when you see him actually serve next, it's
How about get it now?
Dude, there's kids around.
this is so, I'm sure, horrific to watch, but so bad.
I mean, this is like watching two
Yeah.
blind people fuck.
Yeah. when he got after it, I guess that didn't have it there. But yeah. So anyway, I had a tennis coach there, like a really good player, and after the match, he's like, "Dude," he goes, "I'm sorry," because he'd coached me. And I go, what? He goes, he has a legit D1 college cert. And I go, what? He goes, yeah, that is fucking really impressive. I had no idea
Wow.
he would have that. But he has athletic gifts. For sure he does.
If he wasn't a fat fuck, he'd be a hell of an athlete.
Actually, you know, the thing that would completely change that guy is, it's obvious, but it's his caloric intake, right? Like he's at a surplus every day.
Right.
It's surplus food, surplus drink. If he was like, if you told him you have to cut this out,
right,
your life's you're gonna die, he would fucking look unbelievable.
Like the weight loss challenge. When you guys, the first Sober October we did was just a weight loss challenge.
But even that, he did it the Burt way.
Right.
Which is like,
he crammed
2 weeks out. He's like, I'm going to starve myself. Like, that's how he did it. He didn't do it like, you know.
And did he even starve himself? I think he just dehydrated himself.
Yeah, he dehydrated himself. He probably skipped a bunch of meals. He has a skinny formula, which is...
What?
Yeah, he goes, well, you want to be skinny? I'm like, yeah. He goes, what you do is you drink, you take a Xanax.
What?
Yeah. He's like, you sleep all, and then you wake up skinny because you haven't eaten in like 15 hours. I'm like, yeah, you could just be awake and not eat. You know.
What a bizarre way of handling it.
Yeah. It's just his mind, man.
Oh, God. Such a kid. Thank God he's a comic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if that poor fuck was like some salesman somewhere.
Yeah.
He'd just be hating life, waiting to get drunk.
Oh, I could see him totally working at like a tackle shop, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like somewhere like you need bait, you need get some worms here for you. And he would just be tipping one back on the job and he'd be like, it's fine. He works at a bait shop, you know?
Maybe they'd fire him.
Who knows?
You put the worms where the fucking lures are supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's just like there's certain people that you can't imagine them being anything other than comics.
Yeah, for sure. And he is our John Daly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's definitely who he is.
Yeah, that's our John Daly.
Yeah.
But what I worry is that it's like so attached to his persona.
Right. He has that thing. It's not uncommon where he goes, I don't want to disappoint people. They're here to see the machine. They want to have a drink. They want to party with me, and he doesn't want to let them down, you know?
Well, he'll let them down when he dies.
Yeah?
That's going to be a letdown.
That would suck.
The thing is, like, you can't live long like that.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody lives long like that.
No.
You live, but
I know.
You're in a weird race with, obviously he has great genetics.
He does.
So for drinking, his genetics are fantastic.
Yeah. They really are.
Because he doesn't, even when he's really drunk, he's pretty fucking coherent.
There's times where I didn't know, and then all of a sudden it's revealed. He's like, I've had
85 drinks.
Yeah. He's like, I drank like these 2 bottles of whiskey and 45 beers. I'm like, what? and then I'll be like, oh yeah. He's like, check this out. And he takes his clothes off. I'm like, oh, okay. Like now. But I didn't know a moment ago when we were talking.
The wildest shit is watching Shane Gillis.
I heard about this.
Shane Gillis and Ari. Ari said, I'm going to go beer for beer with you. Which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Shane's a big guy, too.
He's a big guy. Yeah. I mean, former football player.
Yeah.
Very tall. A lot of mass, right? So Shane is handling 15 beers. And plus, he had a couple, we shotgunned a few, too. We shotgunned, did he have like 17? So he shotgunned 2?
He was on 18 when Ari was on the ground.
He was at 18. 18 beers.
Really? And
yes.
he was fine?
Funny.
Yeah.
Funny. Fine, funny, great sentences.
Wow.
Talking shit, having a good time.
So he's got a real capacity.
Oh, it's superhuman.
Wow.
And Ari was done. Ari was throwing up in
I saw the
cooler.
picture of him like asleep with his arms folded like a little baby on the ground.
Bro, I stayed for hours because after the podcast is over, we're looking, for the people just listening, we're looking at the photo of Muhammad Ali when he knocked out Sonny Liston, but it's Ali standing over Liston, and Ali has Shane's head, and Liston has Ari's body.
That is so funny. Shane's really funny, too.
His comedy is amazing.
Is really, really
It's
good.
excellent. There's a great crop of upcoming comics right now. It's fucking great.
His special he put out.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I watched that thing fully through, laughing the whole time. It's
very,
really
very
good.
funny. And his new shit is even better.
Yeah.
And I say the same thing about Brian Simpson.
Brian's
Simpson's
so funny.
so funny. We worked last night, and last night he had to go on after Duncan. And Duncan Trussell did Little Hobo.
Uh-huh.
He brought Little Hobo back.
Yeah.
If you've never seen Little Hobo, ladies and gentlemen, it's one of the best fucking bits I've ever seen in my life. It's a beautiful bit. And I don't want to give away anything about it. But it's about a dummy that his grandfather had, his grandfather died, and that's the end. That's all I'm telling you. And it murdered. I mean, murdered, like standing ovation. People going
I
crazy.
remember seeing it in LA. It would murder then too.
He just started doing it again.
Yeah.
Him and I had a conversation about it. I'll go, do you got to bring back Little Hobo?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Little Hobo got stolen.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
From
someone
a
stole
gig?
it. Yeah.
Wow.
So he had to buy a new Little Hobo. So he went on eBay and he found a Little Hobo, like a dummy. For
He's a new resident now.
yeah.
'Cause people
he
don't-
lives here
they
now
don't know.
too. Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, yeah,
We got a great crew here.
yeah.
Yeah. Shane's moving here.
He
He
is?
said he's thinking about it. I'm gonna get him to move here.
Nice.
Yeah. We need him.
That'd be great.
Fuck yeah. When the club opens,
Yeah.
we need him 100%.
How soon till the club?
We're in construction right now.
Okay.
Depends on how long it takes for things to.
What are we in
Get
July?
done. Yeah.
Beginning of July. Yeah. All right.
Hopefully, my goal is to do New Year's there.
Really?
That's what I'd like.
That'd be
I would
awesome.
love it if we get done by New Year's. Celebrate New Year's Day, even if it's just a party. You
Sure.
know, even if the club's like we open up January 1st.
Yeah.
With the club,
That'd be
I
rad.
just love to just.
That'd be rad.
Yeah. It's gonna be so sick.
I can't wait, man. I
so
can't wait. I
exciting.
can't wait to have a place. And for me, like selfishly, it'll be opening as I'm getting off tour, which is ideal.
Yes,
And you have a club to
perfect.
go to
Yeah.
to work at.
And for me, it'll be getting open right around the time I release my special. So it'll be perfect for me because
Okay,
it'll
you're
be-
going to shoot him.
Yeah, so it'll be right around the time where my special's released, and so I'll have to do new material, and it'll be a great place to work out. But you know, two of my favorite places to work out right now are I love working out at the Creek in the Cave,
Yeah.
where I saw Christina run her set, which by
Yeah.
the way was fucking hilarious.
That's her new stuff. Yeah.
She's funny, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
She's
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in the new
She's
stuff.
funny.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
Her bit about fat models is off the charts. It
God.
was so funny.
Gotten a lot of hate. We've been talking about that a lot.
Yeah. A lot
Yeah.
of hate. People are mad.
Oh, yeah.
Fat people.
Well, yeah, and fat models. They all found it. I mean, because I know she has her act, but we were also just having conversations on podcasts about it.
Yeah.
And you know, my thing was, I go, you know, everybody has a preference for whatever their standard of beauty. That part I'm fine with. But my case was that when people go, you shouldn't talk about body types or people's bodies. I'm like, what are you talking about?
What about Bert?
But what are you talking about? Because we all talk about other people's bodies. You do it in your head. You do it to you do it to yourself. You say it to yourself. You say it to your friends. It's part of the way our brains are organized, is that you have a commentary about the attraction level of somebody else.
100%.
I mean, it's always done. Even the people who lecture you about it, those people will still, if you walked away with one of them and you're like, hey, have you seen so-and-so? They're like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. They would
When
still
she gets
comment.
over 260, I think she goes too far.
Yeah, they would still comment about
Yeah.
it. And it's like now, the funny thing is to me is if you go like, well, I'm a model. Okay, so you signed up to have your photo taken because you go, I want my picture out there to show what I am. You have to be open to any criticism about it. Just like if I sign up to say things, I'm open to the criticism of you commenting on what I say. You can tell me I suck and I'm not funny. Like, I have to be able to accept that because this is what I signed up for.
Yes.
So you signed up to be a model. It is open season. It is fair game to say whatever about the way you look. So I don't embrace the idea that you can't comment about the way somebody looks who signed up for, hey, look at my looks. That's their
100%. Yeah. No ifs, ands, or buts.
I said it much more rude things. I should be clear. I wasn't this eloquent about it. I was like, you know, I want to see beautiful, by my standards, women, and fuck it, even guys. Like if you're a guy and you're a model, I want you to have almost an unattainable body,
Right.
Because that's like, I go, that's a model. Like he's got a 6-pack and he's fucking, you know, beautiful skin, and you go like that guy got the gift. Those are his gifts. He's
Right.
genetically gifted to look like that. The woman that, like, you know, we grew up with the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, and you would see just stunning women. They're 11 out of 10s. You go, I don't even see a woman that looks like this ever walking around.
Right.
This standard of beauty. And that was your introduction to like almost fantasy, getting into sex, right? Because you're probably a young teen and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like Elle McPherson? You're like, I've never seen a woman like this before.
Right.
And then I go, you know, I enjoy that personally as the standard of models.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know. You have a model that looks like she's the long snapper for the Colts. Like, I'm going to say, hey, I don't think you're a model. I think you should dig ditches or something. I don't know. I just feel like it's fair to say that you look like that.
You're not my kind of model.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way your body looks, but I mean, it depends on what you're doing. The problem is the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue has always been beautiful women with great bodies.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole idea behind the swimsuit edition.
It's fantasy level.
Yeah.
They're just like, you literally could go to 100 beaches all over the world. You'd never see a woman that looks like this.
Or you might see one.
Maybe.
And go, wow, look at her.
Look, what the fuck is that?
Like when you go to a beach and there's always a guy on the beach that's just jacked, shredded, and you're like, wow, you prepared for the beach, buddy.
Yeah.
Way to go.
All
you deserve
year
it.
was today.
Yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah.
As you're walking around, strutting your stuff like a peacock.
Yeah. And keep going back and forth. Show us all. Walk around the pool a few times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Let it out, buddy. I remember we were in Phoenix once for a show, and we were hanging out at the pool at the W Hotel, and this fucking guy walked by, and he had like 4% body fat, and he was like 250 pounds. It was the most ridiculous human being I'd ever seen outside of a gym. I was like, dude. And I was with Eddie Bravo. I go, look at this motherfucker.
Yeah.
I go, that motherfucker looks good.
Yeah. Exactly. You go like,
he was just like, dang, just shredded everywhere. He looked like he was so excited to be at a place where he could take his shirt off.
yeah, good for him. And the criticism is when you showcase that and celebrate that you're endorsing unattainable body types and you're making people feel bad about their body. And I just don't believe that. I just don't believe it. I believe that, we all have choices. And yes, we're all built different. We have different genetics. But I don't believe that having this incredible freak be the model is negative for society. I don't think that that's true.
It's not negative. It puts a lot of pressure on people.
Sure.
To try to look better, but so what?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Why is that a problem?
Well, competition is a part of everything. There's intellectual competition. When someone achieves a Nobel Prize, is that an unattainable level of intellect that other people can't achieve? And you shouldn't flaunt that with awards?
Yeah, you should.
I mean, what do we do when someone achieves like Jeff Bezos levels of wealth? Is that an unattainable version of wealth? He shouldn't be allowed to have a yacht that's fucking 60,000 feet high?
Well,
like, what do we do?
There's people that definitely say that.
Yeah, but why? It's like this is the same participation trophy crowd. Like
it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it bothers me. It irritates me that that people feel like
Well, you work really hard. It's one of the reasons why it bothers you.
Yeah.
Because it's like that applies to a lot of other things too.
Sure.
That applies to wealth.
Yeah.
When people love to talk about income inequality, which is a real thing. But you know what? It's also a real thing? Effort inequality.
Sure.
There's not equal levels of effort.
That's true.
There's a lot of people that are fucking lazy.
There are a lot.
Whatever reasons. I mean, maybe they have hormonal imbalances and depression and low levels of serotonin and dopamine. I don't know. But
and to be fair, there's people who work really, really, really hard and, barely get by. There's tons of people like that.
Sure.
True.
Sure.
But
because it's a game and you can't just run full blast.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you got to juke left and go right.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to fake. You got to figure out what your strategy is.
it is a game.
Yeah.
And
people throw off-speed pitches.
Sure.
Right? You got to figure that out.
Yeah.
And some people really figure it out, and some people fucking don't. And they just wind up busting their ass 12 hours a day, and they're always poor.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but the game is not set up for everybody to just do the best they can and succeed beyond their wildest dreams. That's not how it works. Like, you have to think your way through it. Mm-hmm. Like, I had a high school teacher who was kind of a fucking weirdo. He was an odd guy, history teacher. But one thing that he said, he goes, this world is not set up for hard work. He goes, this world is set up for hard thinking. He goes, if you think hard and it requires you to work hard as well, that's one thing. But just working hard is not enough anymore. This is like 1983.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty insightful.
Him saying that. Yeah, I remember him saying that. Hard thinking. And I was like, he's right. Because like you could like work hard but go down the wrong path. Oh, yeah. And then you got to back up and start from scratch.
But
and everybody's way ahead of you.
A lot of people who are, incredibly successful who just have minds that are...
They figure things out.
They just have a higher, like their ability to see the things and plan and execute. Just it kind of topples. These people who come up with some business ideas that you go like, how the fuck did you see this?
And they're in the office like 16 hours a day, and they're sleeping on the like Elon.
Yeah,
sleeping on the floor of the factory while he's trying to get the production up. Like that's not a normal person.
No, of course not. No, he's also very. People like that they're solution-oriented minds. You know, they look at the world. They go, "Here's problems. How can we solve these problems?"
Yeah, it's not fair. Like people's minds are like everybody's mind is different. Like you like for whatever reason, whether it's a biological issue, it's life experience, a combination of the things. There's a lot going on with what makes a person make choices. And there's also like things that people are happy with. Like I have an uncle who's an artist, and he like paints on driftwood and shit. Like he doesn't give a shit about money.
Really?
He's not really interested in money. He's never.
I've
been
met
interested
people
in
like
money.
that. Yeah.
He's just interested in like art, and he's like really calm, and we like talks slow and is really peaceful. And
Kind of envious in a way of, you know, like having the mentality of that I'm not motivated by any material things or like, you know, obtaining more or succeeding in that, where they're fulfilled.
Yeah.
Where you feel fulfilled just by the art itself, you know.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I just not who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of it. It's just not who I
I
am.
need constant stimulation, so I'm not envious of it.
Yeah.
Like my brain, it just needs stimulation, whether it's documentaries or physical acts or.
Yeah.
I need
things to go out, you know, like write a book.
Yeah.
And then the book's done. You're like, what's next? So I shot this thing. I told you I wrote and shot this, like basically an episode of my own show.
Yeah.
Because that was like, I need that to feel creatively fulfilled.
Right.
And then there's business attached to it, but it's not in the, you know, I didn't write this to make money. It was like, I need a project. I have to be, you know, and then it's like, you're not doing that. Work on your hour, get it special, shoot the special. Let's work on another one. I need that type of thing going.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things that I really realized while we were doing the Sober October thing is how much you can actually do if you have to do it. Mm-hmm. Like when you have to do X amount of yoga classes in a month, you make sure you do them.
Yeah.
And then you realize, I could have always done this.
Yes. But the community pressure helps.
Oh, 100%.
That's really the
thing.
thing.
And the goal helps, but the competition helps too. Mm-hmm. But one thing I would never do again is the fitness challenge. I would never do that again. That was too much.
Yeah, everybody kind of went dark after a while.
Well, when Bert was talking shit,
yeah,
and I was like, "You're gonna die.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take you into deep water. I'm gonna fucking drown you."
Yeah. You told me that you went dark and started thinking about like fights.
Oh yeah, I started thinking about fighting again. Yeah,
just because of like that flip was like switched, right?
It brought
switch
me.
was flipped.
Yeah, the switch was flipped. It brought me back to that weird mentality that I had when I was fighting, where it's like you could never do enough. You had to do more, and you had to be thinking about it all the time, and it became this obsessive competition. And then it was also the thing about people with numbers is when you're looking at everyone else's numbers, right? Because we were doing this My Zones thing, so you have a chest strap, heart rate monitor that you're wearing, and it attaches to this app, which is a pretty clever app. And the app registers 80% above, 80% of your max heart rate is yellow. And then when you get into red, which is 90% of your max heart rate, you're getting like 3 points.
Yeah, there's a point system, and then green would be like 70. It's
Was it like a
point.
minute, 3 points a minute or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Something crazy like that. And then green is like very easy.
Yeah,
like
but you only get a point.
Yeah, you only get a point.
Yeah.
But when...
The sweet spot was getting those 2 points, I think.
Yes.
So you can try to sustain that.
Yes, that was a sweet point. But the thing is like seeing other people's scores and knowing that you had to beat their score.
Yeah.
That's when it gets crazy.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's what people get with money. That's why those billionaire dudes are always like jockeying for position.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they see those numbers in Forbes and shit.
My two favorite stories about that, about being recognized for your wealth, are Prince Al-Shaweed, I think is his name. I might be mispronouncing it. My apologies, Prince, Your Highness, and Trump. They both have like really well documented beefs with Forbes for Forbes underreporting their wealth. They claim, you know.
Did you ever hear the recording of when Trump called a reporter and pretended he worked for Trump?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and was saying that Trump's wealth is far more than it's being reported.
And he talked about
Find that.
his dating options. He's got a lot of, he's single now, he's dating, he's got a lot of options. He's doing
But it's
great.
so obviously him on the phone.
And it's John Barron.
Yeah, something like that.
And then he named his
Son
most
Barron.
recent son Barron. Yeah.
Well, he wants to be a baron.
Yeah, he fucking loves that name.
He's
he's so transparent. The guy is so
but
funny.
the conversation on the phone is wild.
It's so funny.
Because
and then, they played that for him in an interview.
For him?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Not me. That's the way he handles shit. That's
Was
not me.
there.
Doesn't sound like me at
didn't
all.
do it.
Doesn't sound like me
wouldn't
at all.
do it.
Yeah.
Don't need to.
Yeah.
By the way, that guy's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to hire that guy.
The prince ended up suing Forbes. First, he sent the next year like a leather-bound custom, like attaché with all his reported holdings, and he's like, "This is my actual wealth." And Forbes they went through it and they go, "No, it's not."
Really?
I mean, they were saying, for instance, you're worth $12 billion, you're saying 20, and we don't see it. We checked it out. He was furious. Furious.
That wild.
Yeah, I'm going to sue you.
That's wild. Donald Trump uses the pseudonym John Barron throughout the 1980s.
Yeah.
I hope this plays it. I don't.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, what's your first name, by the way? John Barron.
Back in the 1980s, this John Barron guy was one of his publicists. He was the go-to guy to get, Trump goods.
Well, let me tell you what the deal is, just so you understand. Okay.
And he would say, well, I'm just calling for Donald, and I need to tell you the story.
And I'd like to talk to you off the record if I can, just to make your thing easier. Okay, sure. Is that all right? Yeah, that's fine.
But they were always him. It was Donald Trump.
So funny. He's hilarious, dude. He doesn't give a fuck. There's almost a part of you that goes, it's just hilarious when someone doesn't give a fuck that much.
If he wasn't an existential threat to democracy,
Yeah.
and the power that he wields over his minions wasn't just so disturbing, it would be hilarious. Like if he wasn't in line for president, if he was just a baller. Remember when he was in all the rap videos?
Oh, yeah.
Rap songs? They were
Sure.
always referencing Trump. He was the man.
When I was a kid, he was just a symbol of wealth.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
he would be in movies too. He'd do cameos.
He was in Home Alone.
Yeah.
They cut him out.
They cut him out of the new version?
They cut him out of the old version.
Stop.
Yes, in Canada. In Canada, when they play Home Alone, Trump is no longer in Home Alone.
This is hilarious. Really?
Yep. Canada is communist.
Canada's crazy.
They're fucked. They're fucked. They got to get rid of that guy.
How much time does he have? I feel like he's been prime minister for a while. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I don't know how their system works up there. I have zero understanding of their system.
Yeah.
I never looked into it at all. I liked him. I liked him before the pandemic.
Trudeau?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, he's a handsome guy.
Yeah.
Seems sweet.
Yeah.
It's like good looking guy, confident, good talker.
Yeah.
And then during the pandemic, I'm like, oh, you're a fucking dictator.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like criticism. You're trying to shut down criticism by saying that all your critics are misogynists and racists.
Yeah.
You hear he said that about the trucking people, the truckers?
He called them
all misogynists and racists.
Oof.
Yeah, he's gross. He's a sketchy guy.
Yeah.
And he's got some fucking shaky deals. I would like to see where the money is coming from. Like why do you want everybody to get injected every 4 months? They don't need that anymore. Like what are we doing? What are you doing? You can't even get into Canada unless you're vaccinated.
Can't get in?
No. Make sure that's true. Because someone just told me, Whitney just told me, she had to show her fucking vaccination card to get into Canada.
That seems
It's a little
like it adds up further.
It's old.
Yeah.
Like it's 2022. It's not 2019.
You know where it still feels because I think things sway there so aggressively when something happens, where it feels like you're like, wait, what time is it right now? Is in New York. I was just in New York.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere, everyone was masked up. Everywhere, I was like, what's going on? Why is everyone still masked up?
They're scared. We live here. It's a different place. Like everybody here said, well, I hope I don't get sick. Take care of yourself. Do your best. Get medicine if you get sick.
Yeah, but New York is. It was strange. I was there 2 weeks ago.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre. It's very bizarre. They still wear masks indoors. Fucking Ali Wong was wearing a mask at your party. I kept talking to her and giving her shit. She would take the mask off to say something louder, and then she'd put it back on. Like, you really think that's working? She goes, I don't want to talk about it.
Allie. She's great.
I love her. Border restrictions to enter Canada extend until at least September 30th. Yeah, September 30th.
Really?
Fuck out of here. Listen, man,
Yeah,
if there wasn't money involved in this, if this was just a public health decision, I would be way less cynical.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money involved in this. There's a lot of shady deals with pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies are responsible for 75% of all advertisements on television.
That's a really astonishing number.
It's astonishing. And this is one of 2 countries in the world that even allow pharmaceutical companies to advertise on television.
God damn.
The other one is New Zealand, but New Zealand has far more restrictive laws.
Yeah.
We are buck wild, captured by an industry that makes great drugs.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff they make is all. I'm not anti-pharmaceuticals.
Sure. Life-saving.
Yeah. All of it. There's a lot of great stuff. Life-saving, life-enhancing, but it's a corporation. And corporations, they revolve around mass amounts of money. They want to make more money every quarter. It's a constant, endless growth cycle. And they just had their biggest fucking years ever. The last 2 years of pumping out vaccines were their biggest fucking money makers ever. And they have no liability, which is really wild. Like all the other stuff, like Vioxx, which wound up killing 60,000 people, and they had all this fucking data that showed that it was bad for you.
Yeah.
And they still, I had, what was his name? John Abramson on the podcast, who litigated against the pharmaceutical companies for that.
Yeah.
And he got the internal memos where they were saying there's all these issues, blood clotting, cardiovascular issues, but he goes, which is unfortunate, but we will do well with this. Meaning we will do well financially.
Oh, right.
So they're going to release it, knowing that all these people are going to have all these problems.
Yeah.
And people were just fucking stroking out left and right.
Yeah, I mean, what is the revenue on a Merck or Pfizer yearly? It's got to be astonishing numbers.
Well, what he said about, I'm going to maybe fuck these up, but it's roughly in the neighborhood of these numbers. With this Vioxx thing, they made $12 billion.
God.
And then they were fined $5 billion. So they killed 60,000 people.
Yeah.
And they were fined $5 billion, but they profited all the rest.
Sure.
They profited more than they were fined.
Yeah.
So they made $7 billion.
And they're like, yeah, but it should be 12. So.
Yeah, we got robbed.
We got robbed.
They took our money.
That's really crazy.
We need more money.
That's really crazy.
It's crazy, but that's how those corporations exist.
That is
Brigham used to be a pharmaceutical rep.
Yeah.
You ever want to get cynical about pharmaceutical drug companies?
Yeah.
Talk to Brigham.
Well, it really reminds me when you talk about the mentality. It really is like drug dealer mentality.
Yes.
You know?
It
like
is, but it's sanctioned.
Heroin and coke dealers would be like, yeah, people died, but I made a fucking fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't take as much.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Why are you getting so high?
But with the Vioxx, it wasn't even that. It was just people taking the normal dose.
And killing them.
Stroking out. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. It's not good, man.
It's not good.
But the thing is, it's like there's a long history of them doing that in this country. So to give them, these companies that have had the worst records as far as knowing that things were bad, releasing them anyway, and then getting fined for them. Like Pfizer got, what is it? Was that the biggest fine ever in the history of medical fines for pharmaceutical companies? I mean, they've been fined billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah, but so what?
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore. They're good now.
Yeah.
Same fucking people.
Well, think about what that lobbying group is like.
Oh.
Like the Pfizer, Merck lobbyists.
The Pfizer one was it was a criminal fine, whereas the other ones are like settlements or civil
Okay, so
fines.
GlaxoSmithKline, $3 billion settlement.
God.
The largest civil False Claims Act settlement on record. And Pfizer's $2.3 billion, $3.5 billion in 2022 settlement included a record-breaking $1.3 billion criminal fine. But the fines for Vioxx were larger than that. So how does that work? What was the amount of fine for list of the largest pharmaceutical settlements? Look at this. Schering Plow settlement $345 million, and that was Medicare fraud and kickbacks, and that was for Claritin.
No shit. Claritin?
Yeah. Claritin. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirty fines, man.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's so funny.
Vioxx. Yeah, let's see what Vioxx got fined.
Huh. Unlawful promotion of Vioxx.
It says $950 million, but I think it was more than that. Maybe there's other shit. Maybe there's more than one ruling about it because so many people died.
God damn.
Yeah, it's spooky stuff because, on one hand, you need pharmaceutical drugs. Like, they're really good for certain ailments and illnesses, and they save people's lives, like some of them.
Yeah.
But they're just trying to make money.
They are, of course. Yeah, you can get away with... And the thing is, if something does produce a lot of money, you'll always be able to keep making it. You know, that industry will not die if it's a massive producer of revenue.
You should read, if you really want to get grossed out, read The Real Anthony Fauci.
The Real Anthony Fauci?
It's called The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert Kennedy Jr.
Really?
Yeah. And it details like all of his involvement in AZT with the HIV crisis in the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
AZT was killing people way quicker than AIDS was, and they were using it as a chemotherapy drug before that.
Yeah.
It was killing. They shelved it because it was just killing people. It destroys DNA.
And he was pushing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they were giving people in the trials. They were giving people blood transfusions.
Oof.
The people in the trials that got AZT, they got 6 times more blood transfusions than the people that were in the control.
Wow.
The whole thing is, the book is wild.
Would you podcast with him?
It's super political and very. I would endorse reading the book. I don't know what criticisms of the book exist. I would have to read the criticisms of the book. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot with things like that.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously it's outside of my area of expertise.
But you'd sit with him, though? Would you talk with him on a podcast?
I would think about it.
Yeah.
He's very hard to listen to. He really, ironically, maybe not ironically, but he has a really fucked up voice because he was injured by a vaccine.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he took a vaccine and he had a very bad reaction to the vaccine.
And it affected his voice?
And it did something to his vocal cords.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's why he talks. Like, have you ever heard him talk?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't really. I guess it didn't register as that strange of a voice to me. I've heard him speak before.
He's a very rough voice. He struggles with words.
I saw him. He was getting into it with what's it called? Paul, the Kentucky senator.
Rand Paul?
I think so. I think they were going at it.
Robert Kennedy Jr. and Rand Paul? You sure? It wasn't Fauci and Rand Paul?
No, it's Fauci and Rand Paul.
Yeah.
Fauci and Rand Paul.
Yeah. Were you saying
no,
would I have Fauci on?
Yeah, Fauci I was talking about.
Yeah. If you wanted to come in for 3 hours?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah,
Fuck
Fauci.
yeah, come on in, little fella.
Wow.
Come have a seat.
Wow.
He's sick again with COVID. Fauci is.
Right now?
Yep. Yeah, he's having what's called Paxlovid rebound. Fauci says he's taking second course of Paxlovid after experiencing rebound with the antiviral treatment. Fauci said that when he first tested positive, he had very, very minimal symptoms. So he had minimal symptoms. He took Paxlovid. He tested negative, and then it came back. And then COVID came back harder. So now he's experiencing much worse symptoms.
So it's like a second round that he's getting that is, or is it that it kind of suppressed it for a moment and then it just came back?
I really don't know.
We don't know, yeah.
I mean, he's old, too. He's 81.
Is he 81? Oh, yeah, he is 81. Do you think Paxlovid is legit or no?
I don't know. I mean, it's an antiviral. I mean, I don't know.
Tested negative for 3 consecutive days. He decided to take one more test, found himself positive. Okay, so it was...
So what I'd like to know is he taking IV vitamins? Because IV vitamins are fucking fantastic for it. That's what I gave my parents when my parents had it.
Yeah.
I got my parents on IV vitamins and monoclonal antibodies. That stuff is super effective. That's what saved Trump. I mean, you got to remember, Trump is fat and old.
Yeah.
And 4 days after it, he was like campaigning and fucking waving at people.
Sure.
4 days.
That's pretty impressive.
That's when I lost all my fear of the disease.
When I
was like, I just need to get what that guy got.
Yeah.
Because I'm fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's eating KFC every day and shit. That guy hasn't run in 25 years.
He thinks of his body like a battery,
yeah.
And he thinks that you exercise, you lose energy.
One thing that is incredible about that guy is that, you know, I'm saying even when you watch him as president, he was full of fucking energy.
Full of it.
Every day. And they say he slept for like 4 hours a night. He's one of those people.
He's on Adderall.
God.
Do you think he's on Adderall?
Yes, I do. Only because there were multiple people who used to work on The Apprentice that were like, he was fucking gassed up for shoots.
Really?
Yeah, because he has trouble reading. He doesn't. He would struggle to read prompter, or script when he was just, let's say, sober. So they would give him that, and he would dial in more on reading because he gets very bored. They said, he would get bored at the CIA briefing in the mornings. He was like, I don't want to read that. There's a daily briefing you get as president. He's like, you fucking read it and then tell me. And if it's bored, so they would have to make it more engaging for him because he would just
I heard
tap
that they
out.
would put his name in briefings multiple times to keep him interested.
And then Kushner, his son-in-law, said that he came up with a formula to keep him engaged.
Kushner did?
Yes, because he obviously was close to him and knew him well, and the formula was like 2 good, 1 bad. So if they were going to give him bad news, he'd go, you start with some good news. So they go, this is going well. Everybody's thrilled with you about this. Here's a bad thing. Also, people love you for this. So that's how they would tell him bad news. They couldn't just go, here's a bunch of bad news.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's a man baby.
He's a fucking toddler. Yeah, he's a toddler. It's exactly how I talk to my kids about shit.
We played the video yesterday of Kanye sitting in the White House talking to him, just ranting about stuff, about other galaxies and alternative universes. And Trump's like,
yeah. He's like, how about this guy? This guy's great. I don't know what the fuck he's saying. but
he's just letting him rant, too.
Yeah. Well, his whole thing, it was very simple, too. He goes, do you like me?
Yeah.
Then I like you. That was it. That was the standard.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious.
It is hilarious. Dana White, who I love, is really good friends with him.
Yeah, he likes him a lot.
It's a very, very funny relationship. But Trump came to one of the UFCs.
I was at that one.
Yeah, you were there, right? He came over and shook my hand.
Was that Vegas?
I believe it was New York, wasn't it? No. I don't know where it was. Maybe
it was Vegas.
Was it?
It was Vegas because I remember.
No, it was Madison Square Garden. He
Was
came
it?
to one in Madison Square Garden because I remember he was there and the security was off the charts. It was hard to get into the building. No, he came to a different one. He came to 2. One, you were there.
That was Vegas.
I didn't meet him that time. That was when he was president. The other one was after he was president.
The one that I met him, the one I was at was.
There he is, T-Mobile Arena, Vegas.
That's
you were
Vegas,
right.
yes.
See that one?
Yes.
You're right. That one he came and there's Masvidal. Masvidal likes him too.
I remember
But
this.
he came and that's right. He came and sat down and everybody cheered him.
I remember Las Vegas Metro police back in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Where I normally, if I went with you to one of these, they're just like, yeah, go where you want,
Right.
And they were like, where the fuck do you think you're going? I was like, I'm going over here. And they're like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Is that a Melania stand-in?
That's
Who's
his
that?
gumad.
Who's that?
That's his gumad.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, that's that dude's wife.
Listen, that's what you think.
The guy.
I don't like how she's smiling in the back.
Old guy.
She
right
seems
there.
a little happy to be there.
This is
Maybe that's his.
That is
his fucking side piece.
Side piece.
Get a
Hey!
nice side piece.
Got to have a little piece on the side.
Some guys have a side piece.
Fucking if you own a casino, you do.
Yeah. I can't keep my main piece happy. How do you keep a side piece happy?
I don't know.
I mean, it's hard.
Your main piece seems pretty happy to me.
She's very happy. I can't keep her happy. I shouldn't say that. She's great. But what I could say is like it's a lot of effort in engaging. It's like I'm very happy.
Yeah.
She's great. My wife's
Yeah.
great. But I mean, I couldn't imagine being one of those guys that has like side wives.
But these,
like you have to put them up.
This world is a different world.
Well, that world, they want side worlds.
Yeah.
They want side girls, and a lot of these guys, like super billionaire characters like him, they don't they have like a whole separate world.
Yeah.
Like that girl's set up in a mansion somewhere.
That woman, that beautiful woman that was walking in, is with that older guy behind her, and he is.
Oh, you know that?
He's a billionaire casino owner.
Nice.
Yeah, the guy with the glasses.
Let me
I forget
see
his
him
name.
again. Let me see him again.
He,
and her,
yeah.
Because I like when a really old, fucked up looking
Yeah.
guy can get a fucking nice one.
That guy is a billionaire. He's a billionaire.
Nice one.
For sure.
Nice.
I forget his name. I think Silver something.
I like it when those relationships.
That guy with the glasses. He's like 85.
Perfect.
Yeah. He
And
owns
that's his wife
casinos.
walking in front of him?
Yes.
She's trying to get closer to Trump.
That's him. Yep.
That's what I think. She's like, look, she's many steps ahead. Like,
That
where you
guy
going?
is a billionaire.
Where you going? But
Yep.
it's like that's part of the thing. Like you don't want guys like that are very rarely single and not interested in women.
Sure. Sure,
right?
yeah.
It's like part of the whole thing is they're
Yeah.
conquerors.
Conquerors,
They
yeah.
want to conquer business. And they want to take over this. They want the biggest yacht, and they want hot broads, and they want everybody to see them. Look at
Yeah.
that one. That's mine.
That's mine,
Look at them
yeah.
tits.
Yeah.
Look at them tits. I suck on them.
And it has a shelf life. This is not forever.
Right.
It's always about like this was a fun run.
Yeah, you hit 40.
Yeah.
Ta-ta,
40.
kick
Jesus
rocks.
Christ. 33.
Yeah, 33.
There he
he
is.
Trump's best friend, billionaire casino mogul Phil Ruffin,
There you go.
shares a hidden jackpot, sees a hidden jackpot in the pandemic. Ah, look at him.
Oh yeah.
Smiley.
Yeah.
I like to shoot loads. So what you take, you want a meme? Take that picture. Let me see that picture again.
Yep. There he is.
And just right under it, I like to shoot loads.
I think that's going to happen now.
Quotes.
Yeah. I think you're going to get your wish.
That's what he likes.
Yeah.
Look at me. I got a fucking casino. I got
Yeah.
my own jets.
Put
I
it
got
on them.
jets. Not
Roll
one
around
jet.
in
I
a
got the big
Maybach.
jet. I got the little jet. Have you ever stayed at the Trump Hotel in Vegas?
I have not.
I'm tempted to.
Just to see what's up?
Just to see what's up.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in there with a MAGA hat on, see what the fuck is going on. It's because I never know who's staying there.
Yeah.
Who's staying there, you know?
No, it's I don't know. I mean, he's probably got because a lot of it is licensing too.
Look at that.
you know?
Look at that.
There you go.
She's happy.
Alexandra
She's covered. Oh,
represented Ukraine in the 2004. Do you feel like everyone's stopped just talking about this war now? It's still actively going on.
Still actively going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ukraine makes some hot fucking bros.
They sure do.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
When I was a young man, I dated a gal that was from the Ukraine, and she was fucking wild.
Yeah.
Wild. A little scary.
Yeah.
A little scary.
Was she a little scary?
Little scary. Yeah, a
Yeah.
little scary. Like she would get angry out of nowhere, and I was like, hey, where's this coming from?
Yeah. What? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Sometimes I don't see you, and I think maybe you fuck other girls, and I want to kill you. Like, oh,
Okay.
okay.
She was probably a good time.
There's a disproportionate amount of very pretty girls from Russia for some strange reason.
Yeah, I mean,
Great genes.
Czech Republic,
Oh, yeah.
Hungary, Slovenia, that whole Eastern Bloc.
Do you know Eric
good.
Anders from the UFC?
I don't.
Is a top flight middleweight dude who's a really fun guy. Who was here the other day. But he's talking about going over there to like that part of the world, and no one was smiling. He opened up doors for people, and they're looking at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yep.
Like no one was like happy. He said,
Yeah.
"I didn't see anybody smiling," and he was like, "What is the courting routines like
Yeah.
over here? Like, how do you meet somebody?
Sure.
Like, how do you show your personality, your charm? Like,
Yeah.
is there any of that? Like, what do they do?"
I remember when I met Christina's mother-in-law, who's Hungarian. She was like smiling. You look like a clown. I was like, oh, she's
I
like,
am a clown.
Clown smile. I'm like, okay.
Oh boy,
Yeah, very like
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll see too. I mean, like Putin, for years, if it's a pose, something for the press, you don't go like that because they'll be like, why are you being all goofy? That's the Russian mentality. Is something? Are you a goofy fucking guy? You're a powerful guy,
right.
so you have a stoic.
You're a no bullshit guy.
Yeah,
No bullshit.
I mean, every pose is very
Can you imagine
no
trying to do
expression.
stand up in Russia?
Oof, yeah, I know.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Think all the jokes you've told about presidents and
Oh, my God.
politicians and
think about, also if you said something that just bothered the state, and they're like, we want to talk to you for a second.
Isn't it ironic that Edward Snowden exposes the United States, exposes this like deep underlying surveillance system that is essentially monitoring everybody and violating all of our constitutional rights. And he gets kicked out of the country and he goes to Russia.
Yeah.
And Russia takes him in.
Celebrates him,
And
yeah, of
he's,
course.
he's happy over there.
Yeah.
Fine in Russia.
Yeah,
You know, and
well,
whenever-
that's of course deliberate on their part to be like, we
clearly.
took your
Clearly.
Yeah.
But still wild.
yeah.
Because he went from one, the way they treated him, the way they treat him, and the way they treat Julian Assange, you could absolutely make the argument that this is an authoritarian state. And he leaves here to a far worse one.
Yeah.
and there he's protected.
How about Brittany Griner?
Crazy.
Isn't that insane?
We just talked about that yesterday too.
That poor woman.
She's there. Poor woman. She's there for another 6 months before her trial.
And because all those court rulings, it's all a charade. It's just done to.
Yeah, they want exchange for this arms dealer. They have this arms dealer who's like famous for just like, what do you need? You need nukes? I get you nukes.
Yeah,
there's no problem. There's no problem. Have you ever seen Operation Odessa?
What that was
the documentary on Netflix?
I feel like I did start that.
Dude,
really?
It's amazing. It's amazing. And then in it, there's this one guy. They're drug smugglers. And this one guy wants to get a submarine, and he's talking to the guy selling them the submarine. And the guy says, "Do you need nukes?" He offers them nuclear missiles to go with the submarine.
Do you want chips with that? Like that?
Do you want guacamole?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want a nuclear weapon? It's a great documentary because it almost seems like it's fake, but everything in it is documented. These are real people.
I'm reading that headline that says, selling the sub to a coke dealer, and that's a big thing now with the cartels.
Cokes and subs.
Yeah, they bring in tons. Of
you ever see
subs.
the Coast Guard pull those guys over?
No.
They jump on top of the fucking submarine and they're banging on the hatch.
Really?
Yeah.
Scary shit.
It's wild.
I mean, imagine what you're thinking.
Look at this. These guys, they get to the sub. They jump off. They find this sub there.
Fuck?
They jump off and they fucking land on it and they start banging on the submarine. Like, look how crazy these guys are.
That is crazy because it's
animals.
Nothing but machine guns down there too.
Look at them banging on it. Meanwhile, these guys are hopped up on steroids and America.
Yeah.
They got red, white, and blue flowing through their fucking veins. Yeah. Woo! Let's go! Look at that. He's opening up, guns blazing.
Get out.
Yeah. At that point, you should really open up the hatch and get the fuck out of there.
You got a lot of problems up top.
Yeah.
You got a lot of problems.
Good. No. Not good. Because they might just start shooting holes in that thing.
Yeah.
They shoot holes in that thing. You're going under, son.
Yeah. That's got to be so fucking terrifying.
Imagine being underwater in a fucking tube. Like
knowing what you're doing, too. Knowing that you're trafficking coke.
Oh, yeah. But how about just any time being underwater in a sub?
Well, yeah, of course.
There's no windows.
No. And they're also, have you ever taken a tour of a sub? They're so much smaller than you think.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that one was pretty fucking small.
Right. But I'm saying I've been on a tour of one where even when you go, hey, we're going from this area to that area, the door frame, you have to go sideways. They're small.
Look at this. That's not a big thing. Like that submarine's pretty fucking small.
That is a small one.
Do you think those guys pinch a little of that coke? Just give me a little taste for the boys. We're going to have we caught the coke dealer party. These are just giant bundles of coke.
I know.
And every time they pull it up, the fucking sub goes higher.
And the cartel guys are like, good. Then now they're distracted they think this is a big win.
Right.
Now send the big sub.
Exactly. The big sub's underneath them right now.
Yeah. It's got $500 million of coke on it. Yeah. Unreal.
Our appetite for coke is off the charts.
Cartel got into avocado business. You know about that?
What?
Because the avocado the price of it started to go up, and the cartels just took over some avocado farms. They're like, we're doing this now too. Yeah.
Really? Mexican drug cartels are getting into the avocado and lime business.
Yeah. As soon as that price went up, they're like, this is a pretty good business to be in too.
Well, we fucked up. We fucked up by not seeing this coming, because the same thing happened during Prohibition with alcohol, and that led to the rise of the Italian mafia taking over organized crime in America. I mean, that was Al Capone and all those people. They came up during Prohibition. Whenever you have something that's of high demand but it's illegal, the people that sell it are criminals.
Yeah.
And so they make a lot of money, and they don't have to pay taxes on it because it's not real.
And they're criminals.
Yeah, and especially if they're in Mexico, they ain't paying shit.
No. Mexico, the cartels are so sad. Remember when they got El Chapo's son? Mm-hmm. They got his son.
Yep.
And
the police did.
And the cartel came with tanks and anti-aircraft weapons and rocket launchers, and the government was like, take them back, because they were coming at them like, this is war now. Yeah, they were terrified.
Yeah, the cartel has way more money than the government,
and way more weapons down there,
and they'll do things the government won't, like kill your whole family.
Yeah, stab notes into them. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fucking wild.
It's wild. And it's right there, dude. You could drive from San Diego.
Yeah.
You can
It's
walk
so
over.
close. It's
Yeah.
so close.
You could swim over. You could just swim around that little barrier.
Yeah.
I mean, the barrier between the United States and Mexico at the water is hilarious. Have you ever seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's a goofy little fence about the size of your book that like sticks out into the water, and all you have to do is go around it.
And then you're in.
And you're in. Yeah. All you have to do is like have scuba gear, get in the water, swim around over to here, start walking.
It's crazy.
It's the nuttiest shit ever. See if you can find the fence at the beach. Look at that.
Oh, that's it. That's it?
That's it. That's real.
But
That's real.
And
Look
no
at the
one's
wall.
like posted up there? Like,
Look at how fucking goofy that is.
so that is the other side that's Mexico.
That's where they have
It's
bullfights.
a bullfight, yeah.
They have a bullfight thing right there. Is that Tijuana?
Wow.
This is hilarious.
It's hilarious, dude.
That's like a park.
So
you could literally go like, I'm now in Mexico.
Eddie Bravo was talking. He and I were hanging out the other day, and he was telling me about. We have a good friend, Ed Clay, that I've known for a long time. Ed Clay runs a stem cell clinic in Tijuana, and he's like the area of Tijuana that has it. You would think you're in LA. He goes, "It's really nice." He's like, "There's nice parts of Tijuana, and there's terrible parts of Tijuana."
Sure.
And you go down there, and they can like juice you up with like ungodly amounts of stem cells. They can
Really?
do all kinds of wild shit down there that they're not allowed to do in America. Like they can take stem cells and multiply them, and then they're giving you IV stem cells. But so many people that I've known that have gone down there have had incredible results, including Eric Anders, who was here the other day that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
He went down there for stuff with his neck. And he's like, his neck was fucked. He goes, now my neck is great. It moves good.
But he
It's
got
good."
real high dosage stuff.
Yeah, and they're going into the discs. They're just. He
can't
said
do
it
that
felt
here.
like this. It was like his neck extended. 1 dead, 13 rescued in large-scale attempt to swim around the U.S.-Mexico border fence. Huh?
Someone tried to do it. It's
Oh,
not
this you
that
got
easy.
fat people that were drunk.
It's not that easy.
70 migrants were in the water trying to swim to Borderfield State Park in San Diego. Listen, I can do that. I will guarantee you I could swim around that. I'm not the best swimmer.
Yeah.
I could fucking swim around
Yeah, I
that.
think I could swim around
If
that.
people are dying swimming around that,
Yeah.
they should have prepared.
They probably don't swim.
Yeah.
They probably don't swim at
Probably
all.
don't swim at all.
It was
Yeah.
nighttime when they did it, obviously.
There's
that? It's
also
nighttime?
nothing like, even if you've like I swam my whole life, you know, I mean not like an active swimmer, but I mean always, you know, I was a little kid on the swim team and you know always in pools swimming. There's nothing that quite prepares you for what ocean swimming is like unless you've been accustomed to it.
It's a different animal.
It is so much scarier.
Yeah.
And if there's a real like waves, like a real tide coming in, like it is the most panic I've ever felt, I think, is twice in the ocean.
Really?
Yes. Once I didn't realize I was in Maui and I rented a car and we drove to a beach, I forget where. And when I got there, it was, you know, there's no one on this beach. So, oh, this looks fucking rad. And the shore was like at a decline,
Oh.
you know, like into the
so
water.
heavy undertow.
Yeah. And I go, well, I'm just going to go in. And it started to pull me back, you know, and I was like, I just felt that panic where you go like, don't panic too hard. You're trying to keep yourself calm.
Yeah.
And I was able to, I wasn't too far out where I was able to get my footing, swim, and then like power through it and get out. And I was like, holy shit, that was terrifying. And when I got back to the hotel is when I talked to one of the staff and I was like, yeah, you know, I got in the water there. And they're like, you got in the water there? And I go, yeah. They go, oh yeah, you'll drown there. Like no one's supposed to swim there. And I go, yeah, there was nobody there. They're like, yeah, because you'll drown. You'll die there.
How about a sign?
Yeah, nothing about that. And once was in Florida where I got caught in a riptide or a current that was just pulling me back. And I remember, you know, there were other people in other parts of the water, but I kept going back. And I remember seeing a lifeguard. He was up in the thing and he came down and he started to walk towards me and I was going back further. And I remember being like, you got to be shitting me. And I kept swimming, and then I just go like, okay, don't resist here. So I let it take me a little bit. I think I just kind of got out of it. And again, I got footing and I was just powering as hard as I could to get out. And he goes like thumbs up. And I go, I waited a second and I gave him a thumbs up and then I got out and I was like almost hyperventilating. I was like, he goes, yeah, you got caught in that, huh? He goes, it kind of freaked me out. I go, I was a second from waving you in.
Fitzsimmons saved a woman's life on vacation.
Really?
Yep. He was on vacation and he noticed this woman was caught in the tide and she was swimming and he noticed that no one was noticing it. And he's like, oh, my God. And he had a split-second decision that he had to make because Greg's not the biggest guy in the world. And people do drown when you're trying to rescue them.
Totally.
They drown rescuing people. And so he's there with his fucking family. And he's like, fuck it, I can't just watch this. And he jumps in the water and he saves this girl's life.
In the ocean?
Yep, in the ocean.
I saw my dad save someone's life on vacation when I was like 8 years old. We went on a... he just took me like father-son trip. We went to a hotel, it was like Orlando, and it had a water slide. But I still remember, even before this happened, that the water that pushed you off the slide was high-powered, So when you got to the bottom of it, it buried you, And as a little kid, I was like, holy shit, that's so strong. And, I think I did it maybe twice, and I was kind of scared to do it again because it kept pushing. It pushed you too hard into the water. And I was standing around the pool, and then I saw my dad dive in. He saw that there was a woman just at the bottom of the pool.
Stuck.
Just laying. I think she was...
Oh, she went out.
She went out.
Did you see that girl went out swimming the other day in a swim meet?
No.
In the middle of a swim meet, she blacks out, and the swim coach dives in to rescue her.
Holy shit.
Yeah, there's video of it.
Dude, I saw my dad pull this girl out of the water.
Oh, Jesus. Was she unconscious?
Yes.
Did he know CPR?
No, somebody else jumped in for that. And then, but, he pulled her out. And then she would, like, contact for years, like send cards and all this stuff, Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So this was at a swim meet, though?
Yeah. Look at her. She's out
Holy
cold.
shit.
Yeah.
That's the coach, obviously.
Yeah. So she's crazy. She's in the middle of swimming, and she just, so much effort, she blacks out.
Oh, yeah, I see USA stuff.
Which is crazy because she's an elite athlete.
She's elite, yeah.
But,
like nobody more comfortable in a pool.
Right, look at that. She's out cold. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, when you are at that level, you are pushing yourself so fucking hard.
Yeah.
You are giving everything.
And these swimmers are such savages.
Savages.
Yeah.
Savages. Thank God the fucking swim, whatever it is, the governing body is no longer allowing trans women to compete against biological women.
Is that ruled on now?
Yes.
The governing body of swimming?
Whatever the body is, find out what the ruling is, but you have to have transitioned before you were 12. So you have no hormones that are...
Oh, I got you.
You didn't go through puberty. Which is fair.
It's basically a Leah Thomas ruling, right?
Yes, or anybody like her.
Right, but I mean, it's because that became such a huge topic.
Yeah, and should be. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
She was 462 and as a male and number one as a woman. First it was a rugby union, now it's a swimming. June 19th, the Fédération Internationale FINA, swimming's global governing body, ruled that transgender women, i.e. biological males who consider themselves women, would not be allowed to compete in women's elite races if they have gone through male puberty. Great. 2 days later, International Rugby League said it would not allow transgender women to play in the international rugby games because there's a woman that plays in Australia that's a trans woman that's 240 pounds and built like the Hulk and just running people over.
Yeah.
Fucking people over.
What's funny is that people, their reaction to criticizing that, it's almost like they think because you're critical of that you're not empathetic in any way or compassionate in any way. And I think it's almost like they need to hear you state that, of course, you're...
Yes, it's real. That's real.
That's real?
Yeah, that's him. Her. That, they, them, whatever. But it's insane. No, it's a huge person.
I think it's just, it's like you're not rational.
That's not rational at all.
If you go... But the fact that you can be labeled as transphobic because you say that a 21-year-old who transitions from man to woman shouldn't be allowed to compete in something physical because it just seems so obvious. I mean, I get the criticism where they go, well, what do you want this woman to do? She's a woman now, and so wants to compete. And I understand like that point of view, but it is totally logical to say all these physical, biological advantages that you have as a man should not just be transplanted into the female competition.
Of course. Have you ever seen the conversation that I had with Adam Conover? Do you know who he is? I guess he's kind of a comic. I've never seen him do stand-up, but I guess he does stand-up.
I remember this.
Adam Ruins Everything?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
that guy?
yeah. I remember that he came on and he was just like, of course, right? Like, yes, they should.
It is watching someone who has like almost a religious belief, like a wild, crazy religious belief, get confronted by scientific facts and objective reality.
And still doesn't.
And he's just stammering and falling apart and trying to hold on to his woke ideology. I mean, it's wild.
Yeah.
And it's just because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
It's just because he's like a very sensitive, very progressive guy, but also captivated by woke ideology.
But I don't see how somebody, I mean, how do you look at that
and not think women are getting fucked?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do you see that and go like, well, that's just, you don't see the crazy advantage that I mean, look, he was 462. Which is, he's an elite male swimmer.
Yeah, number 462 in the country.
You're elite, though. You're beating the fuck out of
regular
99.999%.
Like
yeah.
Definitely better than us.
Fuck yeah. And then you just transition and you go like, that makes sense. Or in rugby.
Right. Doesn't make any sense.
You're just going to absolutely decapitate somebody.
Yeah, or in MMA. None of those things make sense.
No. It's so silly that this is an argument.
Yes. Well, it shows you how crazy this ideology is.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you want to call it, whether you want to call it woke ideology, progressive ideology, there's an insanity to it because it doesn't have anything to do with objective reality. And there's a lot of feminist women like my friend Megan Murphy who fucking push back against it hard because she's saying these are not women and you're treating them like women and they're dominating women's spaces and they're doing it like men.
Yeah.
Like she's like, if you want to call yourself a this or a that, or you want to identify as that or this.
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah, I agree.
You are 100% within your rights to do that. There's a giant difference between doing that and then claiming that you can compete as a woman.
It's fucking insane.
It's madness.
Yeah.
It's madness.
Again, if you got into sprinting, high jump, any of those things where there's a huge male advantage.
The bike rider. Do you know about the competition bike rider that dominates? There's like a
cyclist?
Yeah, a cyclist, male cyclist, a biological male cyclist competes as a woman, crushes everybody.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like if you had here's the deal. If you took a woman and you told that woman that she had to compete against a woman who's been doing steroids her whole life, but just stopped doing steroids, you'd be like, well, that's not fair.
Of course not.
Right, well, that's the same thing as being a man.
Yeah.
You're going through a life of puberty and a life of testosterone that's far elevated in comparison to a biological woman.
Sure.
And then you look at the thresholds of what's allowed. This is where Derek from More Plates, More Dates comes into play. You ever see that YouTube channel, More Plates, More Dates?
Mm-mm.
It's really good, but he's great at covering hormones and things along those lines and performance-enhancing drugs. But he's essentially broken down what the threshold is for allowable testosterone for a trans woman, and it's far beyond what a normal biological woman has.
Yeah.
So even competing as a trans woman, like saying you're a woman, I identify as a woman, you have way more testosterone, or you potentially could have way more testosterone.
And it be allowed, permitted.
And it's allowed.
Yeah, so that ruling makes sense is that you haven't gone through puberty yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, there's the other thing is like, there's a story in Texas where Texas, if you are a biological female, you must compete against biological females. Well, there was a trans boy who was taking male hormones and wrestling against girls. So she was born a woman, right? Biological girl, transition, becomes a boy. She's now identifies as a boy, taking testosterone.
Right. For the transition.
But has ragdolling women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're wrestling against women that don't have testosterone.
Yeah.
We're going to look back on this time if there is history.
Yeah.
If there is a moment. I think our history is going to be sorting through rubble going, what were they doing?
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
We got a few years left.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We might have 100. Who knows? But whenever it goes down, it's going to go down hard. And I think it could go down in multiple fronts. It could go down because of our own folly. It could go down because of war. It could go down because of natural disasters.
Yeah.
It could go down
There's a lot of threats right now.
There's a lot of threats.
Yeah.
Natural disasters, I think, are probably the most likely scenario. in terms of like asteroid impacts and super volcanoes and shit.
Climate falling apart.
I'm not that concerned about that.
Really?
I'm not that it's not going to fuck everything up, because I think it is, but I'm not concerned about that being the end of the human race.
Oh.
I think the climate is just going to force people to move to different areas, and if the sea level does rise, it's going to fuck up the people that bought houses in Malibu.
Yeah.
But I think in Miami and all that shit. But I think our real scary stuff is impacts, because that's
they just showed an impact on the moon, right?
Yes, a rocket.
A rocket. Yeah.
Somebody's rocket.
That no one's claimed?
No one's claimed.
That's
Go
strange.
to that article. Yeah, a rocket.
A fucking rocket, dude.
Yeah, someone shot a rocket to the moon.
How is there no...
Didn't tell anybody.
How can you not trace that in some way?
They spotted a rocket impact site on the moon. Well, there's other articles that are not the NASA site. Go to whose rocket landed on the moon.
Yeah.
Because there's...
They found 2 new craters.
Mystery rocket impacts moon. Go to that one.
I don't understand, though, right? Like...
Yeah. They don't know what the fuck happened. They're like, hey, who did that? Whose rocket was it? Also, when did the rocket hit? And it left an interesting double crater. So it says, late in 2021, astronomers spotted what turned out to be a spent rocket body hurtling towards Earth's moon. And now NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which has been photographing the moon since 2009, has seen the rocket's crash site. But the origin of the rocket is still a mystery. Isn't that wild that in 2021 someone could shoot a rocket to the moon and no one even knows?
No one knows?
And the crater is a mystery too. Why is it double? As it turns out, the strange double crater, the site of the crash itself, might help to identify which rocket it was that crashed.
Huh. Look at the size of it too, the crater. If you scroll down though, that it gives you those measurements right there. It says there's 2 craters, an 18-meter diameter, about 19.5 yards, superimposed on a western crater, 16-meter diameter, about 17.5 yards. I mean, imagine that a rocket like that hitting the Earth. That's just a rocket. I mean, obviously a meteor would be like way
worse. That's not that big. That's not that big. 17 yards is not that big.
I mean, I'm thinking of just like 20 yards on a field.
Yeah, but if something has the amount of energy to slam into a planet, to leave one planet and slam into another one, kind of amazing. And it only has a 20-yard crater.
Yeah, I guess so.
So there's the images.
So they're trying to unmask the owners of the body. First they thought it was a SpaceX vehicle.
Elon did it.
But eventually decided, it must be part of a Chinese. That makes the most sense.
Chinese government denied ownership. We didn't do anything.
Yeah, sure. Okay, this is
solved.
solved.
Did you hear they banned TikTok today?
China did?
The FCC is urging Apple and Google to pull TikTok today. Yes. Yeah. Find that.
They send a letter by July 8th.
Unless TikTok sends a letter saying, we promise we're going to stop stealing your data. No more thumbprints. No more facial scans. We promise.
Whoa.
Yeah, listen, Trump was talking about this a long time ago. He's saying we should ban TikTok.
I remember.
And so TikTok said, we're going to have an American TikTok and a Chinese TikTok, and we won't fuck with it. But it turns out the American TikTok gets all of its data from the Chinese TikTok. So TikTok sends the data to China first, and then China goes, we'll be right back after we get your credit card information.
Yeah, sure.
And then they send it over.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like... He was right with the Huawei thing. When they banned Huawei, a lot of people are like, hey, why are they banning Huawei? And then, when I talked to Mike Baker, the guy from the CIA, he's like, listen, that is a fucking corrupt company that 100% is doing the most invasive searches on people's phones and scooping up data at unprecedented levels.
Wow.
They back-engineered the TikTok app, and they said is the biggest violator of privacy they've ever found. FCC commissioner calls on Apple and Google to remove TikTok from their app stores. This is wild shit, dude. This is wild.
Yeah.
A member of the Federal Communications Commission is renewing calls for Apple and Google to remove TikTok from their app store, citing national security concerns surrounding TikTok's Chinese-based parent company, ByteDance. I like ByteDance. What a great name.
It is great.
June 24, CEO of Apple and Google, FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, described ByteDance as beholden to the Chinese government and required by law to comply with Chinese government surveillance demands.
For sure.
100%.
Do you also, though, feel like that it's almost not worth resisting some of these things, like how big surveillance is from tech, that you realize, you can do what you think you can to avoid giving out your information, but you know that your information is out there, right?
Yes.
Somebody has collected.
There's a difference between Google collecting it, which is not ideal, and the Chinese government can.
Oh, 100% agree.
Yeah, the national security concern aspect of it is, like, first of all, like, if your kid is on TikTok, then maybe it has some sort of an ability to track phones that are in the area. Yeah. Maybe it's scooping data off of phones that are close by. Maybe it's scooping data off of Wi-Fi. Maybe it's recognizing financial transactions that you're also making on the same phone.
Yeah.
Maybe it's recognizing, very important geolocations of important people. Like, who the fuck knows what it can do and what they can't do? But see if you can Google back engineers TikTok and finds privacy issues.
China slides under the radar to so many like civilian people, and then you talk to anybody in intelligence, and they're that is our greatest adversary by far.
Yeah,
by far.
They're scary.
Yeah,
they have a massive economy. They have a full connection to all businesses. So the government is in complete control of all businesses. There is no business that operates without the control of the Chinese government. Yeah. The governments don't go, there's like in America, Apple can go, Biden's an idiot, and this country's fucked, and we're doing a terrible job, and we need to shut the fuck up.
They don't do that shit there.
You'll disappear.
Yeah.
They took that Jack Ma guy, that's the head of Alibaba, which is their version of...
super wealthy, multi-billionaire.
He vanished for 4 months. When he came back, he's like, everything is great.
Great.
I love the government.
Remember the tennis player?
Oh, yeah.
She was like, I was assaulted by a high-ranking person in the People's Republic, whatever, the party of the Chinese government, and then disappeared.
Yep.
And she's like, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
And thumbs up.
Yeah. Well, it's harder to just straight up disappear people now.
Yeah.
Because they've killed a few billionaires or put them in, who knows what they're doing. They probably just have them in a jail somewhere and they just fuck them every day.
Yeah.
Today I fuck you again.
People, because of that system, it's different, the loyalty to the state of Chinese, even citizens, is different,
Well, they get fucking scared.
Sure.
Well, you remember when fucking, what's his face, John Cena
was
apologizing. I'm so sorry, China. I respect China so much.
He did it in Mandarin.
Yeah. Speaks in Mandarin, which is wild.
Oh, yeah.
But he was apologizing.
I made a mistake. Yeah.
I was very tired. I made a big mistake. I respect China so much.
In that business, they think about that box office. That's a serious box office over there.
But meanwhile, Top Gun said "fuck you," and they had a Chinese flag on Tom Cruise's back, and they pulled it but still killing it. Same thing with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They're realizing now, like, it's not worth it. And also people are aware that you're a cuck.
Yeah.
What did it say?
Claims this guy made 2 years ago on a Reddit post, and they were disputed, sort of, but not in a really good way that I could find just now.
Okay, so let me see the headline. It says, guy who reverse engineered TikTok reveals the scary things he learned, advises people to stay away from it. Facebook got itself into sensitive data scandal when it, my youngest was today. She has a friend over her house, and they were laughing and giggling. I go, "What are you guys doing?" "We're making the craziest TikTok." Like, kids are fucking addicted to TikTok.
Yeah.
But the TikTok in America and the TikTok in China for kids is very different. Do you know about that?
No.
In China, you can't use it after 10 p.m. Kids they're not allowed on it after 10 p.m.
It shuts down.
Shuts down, and TikTok highlights scientific achievements, athletic endeavors, all sorts of different things that show like powerful, accomplishment-driven activities.
Yeah.
In America, it's like crazy gender stuff and dance moves.
It's somebody pulling their tooth out, like in the kitchen with pliers, and they're like, "Ugh."
Exactly. It's like they're trying to turn people into dullards.
Yeah.
And as many as they can into idiots.
Yeah.
And they're going to get a lot of us. They're going to get a lot of people.
For sure.
That's the way they're going to win. The way China and Russia, the way they're going to subvert Americans is through making us idiots.
Yeah, I think it's working. We're fucking dumb as shit here. People don't care about education or anything. I mean, it's such a minority that really is driven for that.
But there's obviously a hunger for it, right? Because the hunger for podcasts I mean, obviously a lot of podcasts are just nonsense conversations, but some of the podcasts that I've had talking to scientists have, fucking 30, 40 million views.
Yeah.
Like, why is that? Well, it's because there are people out there that are fascinated with interesting things.
Yeah.
But that is not being shown to them in most media.
Yeah.
It's hard to get. Like,
yeah.
And like deep conversations with people that
are brilliant people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's enough people out. I mean, we're still human beings.
Yeah.
Human beings are still curious creatures. We're still fascinated by different things and fascinated by.
But it is so unique to be able to see a conversation with a scientist or a professor that's like really accomplished, really brilliant mind.
Yeah.
There's really, I mean, outside of podcasts, where are you going to see that person speak uninterrupted about something that you're curious about?
It never existed before.
Yeah.
It never existed before. And what's really fascinating is that for me, is that I'm the one who's doing it. That's what's bizarre.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fucking idiot and I'm a cage fighting commentator, which is a very strange combination of things to be doing.
Yeah. But you have that curiosity too.
But I think there's a lot of people that have that. This is what I'm saying. It's like there's a lot of people that aren't intellectuals, but they aren't represented. Like their ideas and curiosity is not represented by mainstream offerings.
Yeah.
So when podcasts come along, like if you wanted to bring podcast mainstream like 20 years ago, you said, I got this idea. They'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like who the fuck wants to listen to two idiots talk shit and smoke cigars for 3 hours?
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody.
And then all of a sudden it comes out and you realize this is exactly what people want.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
But there's also one of the things that podcasting did was it provided an avenue of entertainment for people that are also doing other things.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're doing like boring labor all day.
I get those messages all the time.
Yeah. People are like, dude, you fucking saved my life. I had to drive to Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many times, UPS, FedEx, USPS drivers.
Yeah.
I stopped all the time. People working, they're like, I'm in a warehouse.
Yes.
Just, driving this like fucking forklift around or whatever. And they're like, I just got to listen to something. You know? And hearing a conversation can, at times you want that more than, sometimes you want music, but sometimes you want to hear a conversation.
I love conversations.
Yeah.
I am a giant consumer of podcasts as well as a listener. But I don't. I mean, my consumption is very varied too. Like I'll listen to like yours, I'll listen to comedy podcasts, and then I'll listen to like bow hunting podcasts. Then I'll listen to MMA podcasts. And
what's the one I just listened to that was interesting? Let's see if I still have it.
I haven't listened to Radio Lab in a long time, but that used to be one of my go-to ones. That was one of the first times that I ever realized that some people involved in this gender stuff are completely insane. Because there's this one person that they were calling themselves gender fluid, and they would go back and forth from being a male to a female throughout the day. Like they would just decide, oh, I'm Tom now. Oh, now I'm back to being Sally. And they were treating it like it's totally normal. Like, oh, I get it, Sally. No, actually, I'm Tom now. Oh, okay, Tom.
Okay.
Like, wait a minute. You don't get to be two different people. This is you're literally bipolar. Like you have personality disorder. You have something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
This gender thing though, but if you say you're two different, I'm Mike, now I'm Steve, people are like, oh, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But if you say I'm Sally and now I'm Tom, they go, oh, it's totally
fluid.
normal. It's fluid.
Yeah.
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 And the person like clearly had issues. Like you listen and they're like overly emotional about shit that didn't make sense and they weren't speaking rationally. Like this is a person who's like struggling with the fabric of reality itself.
Yeah. And then we
dismiss it all because it's a gender thing. Like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas, I don't know, it feels like not long ago even, everybody would be like, the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly. Yeah. I wonder how we bounce back from that because a lot of kids are growing up with this in their head. And this is not a slight on transgender people because I think there legitimately are, and I've met them. There's a lot of people that legitimately are in the wrong body. And I couldn't imagine what that's like. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it also opens the door to people that are completely insane.
Yeah, that's part of, it's like when you overcorrect, you overcompensate for something and it leaves the ability, you have the option now because there's legitimacy to it to bring in the other people. Yeah. So you're going to have people that are legitimately like this and people who are just playing in that same group and they're actually not what they're saying they are.
But when do we bounce back? Like, how do we bounce back to a state of normalcy where we accept people that are transgender people, but we also leave the door open to people that have like legitimate mental illness that use whether it's being transgender or gender fluid or anything else as an excuse to like get extra attention and to make it all about them, and you know, to like a form of narcissism, a form of psychotic behavior.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them, like, they decide they're women and then they just start attacking other women and getting very aggressive about other women.
Yeah.
Like, and they're clearly, like, deranged people.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only thing we can do is call that out. Like, and that's the only thing that can make this feel grounded and real, is that you have to acknowledge when something is standing out as this bullshit, you know? This is a crazy person.
Or a hot war.
A hot war?
A nice hot war. A real hot war would drop all that bullshit. Nobody give a fuck about gender ideology if rockets start launching.
Holy shit. Yeah, like a gender war?
No. I don't mean a gender war. That war would end quick.
Yeah, it sure would.
Yeah. No, I mean a hot war, like a war with Russia.
Oh, yeah.
Where you have real problems.
Well, yeah, because it does feel like some of these issues that are highly debated in like progressive circles today, you go, yeah, you know where they don't really bring this up, you know, is like Eastern Africa. Like when there's a war zone or a famine or you know, rockets are blowing up schools and hospitals.
Yeah,
that shit quiets down real quick.
Yeah. Well, first world problems. It's interesting though. It's like we're sorting out all sorts of different things. And then in the meantime, while this is happening, male sperm counts are dropping at record levels. Balls are shrinking. Dicks are shrinking.
How many people are scared to say things? So many people are so scared.
They should be scared. They get fired.
Yeah, they get fired. But even, you know, like we know people some of them in comedy, but definitely in entertainment who are just, you see how terrified they are. They're just terrified to say they're scared. They're scared to have like just speak a rational thought.
Yep.
Because they're just like, you know, the fans are going to go against me. I'll never get hired again. They operate in a different world than podcasters and comedians do.
Yeah, we're the last front line of free speech in that regard.
Yeah.
In that we can't get fired.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you see, you know, employees in these companies just try to bully their way through things.
And then people speak in hushed tones, quietly. You know, they get together and like someone will say something about gender and then everybody will
laugh. Schools too, by the way. I have teacher friends, you know, that are like, and they're like, oh my God, you should see what the shit we have to deal with at school. And they just kind of nod and, you know, they have colleagues, other teachers who will openly weep in a teacher meeting about one of these issues, and they're like, Jesus Christ. So they just have to keep their mouth shut. Because if they say anything, they'll just be labeled.
Right.
You know,
and
as
maybe cast
fascist.
out.
And
yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Have you seen the documentary What is a Woman?
No.
I haven't either. But I keep seeing clips, and they're fucking wild. It's Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire.
Yeah.
And he made this film, What is a Woman? And it has a 97% score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
And only has 4 critical reviews. Critics. I mean critical. I mean critics.
Yeah.
Critics reviewing it.
Oh, like no one will.
Everything is 97% is all by just regular viewers.
Right.
The people that are like professional journalists that are supposed to be reviewing these things
won't watch it.
Only 4, and one of them was Matt Taibbi. So Matt Taibbi wasn't. I mean, he disagreed with some of it. He wasn't necessarily critical of it, but he was critical of some aspects of it. But he just watched it and reviewed it for what it is and was just attacked for even engaging with what this film is. But this guy, Matt Walsh, the way he did it was very clever. He didn't get in arguments with people. He just asked them questions. He just like got the most rabid of these gender ideologues, and he asked them all kinds of questions like, what is a woman? Mm-hmm. Like, how do you define a woman? How do you know? And then he let them talk their crazy.
Yeah.
And then put it all together in a documentary.
Wow. And that was really like his only thing is, what is a woman? Like,
that's what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, how can someone become a woman? But along the way, there's like wild shit going on now where kids identify as cats.
What?
And they want to meow in class.
Stop.
Yeah. No, it's real. In some places that are more open-minded. And people go, oh, well, that's not everywhere. Well, this is what we were saying about all this gender stuff 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And now it's everywhere.
They want to meow?
They want to meow. They identify as animals.
But I mean, what age are we talking about?
14.
14? I thought you were going to say like 3.
No.
Because that's what my 3-year-old does.
But that's just for fun.
Of course.
But you don't allow that to happen in class. You're like, Billy, stop meowing and answer the question. You know, who was the first president of the United States? Meow! Meow! I can't tell a lie. Meow! No, you have to say it's fucking
And the
George
teacher has
Washington.
to respect this choice.
Yeah. Or they get fired. I mean, they're barely getting by anybody. Nobody has less power to quit their job and to tell people what they really think than teachers.
Oh, my teacher friends say the same thing. Yeah.
It's a terrible place to be.
They're like, I just like what I do, but it's an insane world that
and it's not what they signed up for.
No,
Like,
it's not.
When they were in high school and they were in college, like, I think I'll be an educator.
Yeah.
And then they get to this place like, oh my God, I'm in a cult.
Yeah. And then any even like just a hint of, I would even call it pushback, like even questioning some of this, they are then faced with you're endangering these kids. You're scaring them. You might cause a kid to kill them. Like they'll say wild shit to them. So
that's
then
the wild one that people always like to say. They like
Yeah.
to say you're putting people in danger by criticizing
Sure.
them. Like, oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they'll say too about like if you endorse the traditional beauty standard for a model, you're putting kids in danger right now because they're going to try to attain that. You're
Jesus
like,
Christ.
Okay.
That is such a wild assertion.
It is.
Because that censors so much thought and debate about complex and complicated issues where people disagree. And all you have to do is like conflate that with you doing a terrible thing that could like literally get someone killed.
Yeah.
And you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Wild.
Wild.
Wild fucking times, man. Wild times. Because these are supposed to be the people that you rely on that are professional educators that are also professional thinkers, right? They're supposed to be the people that they are spending time thinking things through more than anybody.
Sure.
And then they're expressing those thoughts supposedly in a very well sorted out way.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have the objective reality. They have the stranglehold on it. And that's why they're teachers.
Yeah.
That's not really true.
No.
They're
it's
kind of
not.
fucked and captured.
Yeah. I think it's a really in this country a pretty thankless job too. You
Yes.
know? People are like, why aren't you doing better?
It's almost like that's a good way to keep people stupid. Pay teachers the least amount possible.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and the only people that get really good teachers are people that put their kids in private schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get the elite where their kids get smarter and everybody else is like kind of like stuck to try to figure it out on their own.
True.
The only saving grace is that if someone does decide to seek it, you can get a pretty fucking substantial education online.
You can. Now you can.
Yeah. I mean, you can. I mean, now
You can really educate yourself on anything now.
Yeah.
Which is really fascinating.
For sure.
Yeah.
You could definitely get a broad education on, like,
I wonder if I would have been a better student if I were a student now. You know?
I wouldn't have been. I would have been sending dick pics and being on TikTok all day.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know why I'm fantasizing.
If I had a phone at 15, you know how many dick pics of mine would be out there?
It just would have been, it would have been shut down so many times with
Oh, yeah.
pornography infections.
Oh,
It'd be
yeah.
like, God.
And I would have been filming everything. Street fights, car accidents. What
Yeah.
can I film?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kids. And the things they watch.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch porn when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was a real challenge. I would jerk off and at Spice Channel, scrambled. I saw a tit, and I just,
Spice
it just
Channel.
because it would just come in for a second, and you're like, there it
people
was.
don't remember that like there was B sex movies.
Yeah.
They were like softcore porn movies.
Yeah.
Like Emmanuel Goes to Paris. You remember those?
Cinemax.
Yes. They would call it Skinamax.
Skinamax, yeah.
Yeah, and you would watch these terrible movies where a girl would like eventually take her clothes off.
Yeah.
And they would have simulated sex where you could tell while the guy was humping her that his dick was like a foot away from her vagina.
Yeah.
It was like way back there.
It
was
didn't
like,
make sense the way they would line up.
Her legs were like where his chest is.
But
like,
Spice would have real sex, but that was pay per view. So I remember I'd go to sleepovers across the street when I was like in, I don't know, 5th grade, and we'd sit there and try to see. And then one time, the dad had bought Spice, so when we put it on, it was actually on. Yeah, and it was just like masturbation factory in sleeping bags. Everyone's doing it quietly, like you feel like shaking on the floor, but no one wanted to look at each other. We're all like, "Oh my god, we're 10 and 11 years old."
Beat off the Spice
Oh
Channel.
my god, yeah. Or you'd get tapes passed down, or you'd find a tape stash.
Oh yeah,
magazines. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah,
it is too accessible. That is true.
For sure.
And especially for the developing mind. The fact that you're just presented with that, because it was a discovery when we were kids.
Well, you had to seek it out originally.
Yeah.
Like, think about it in the early days. You had to go to a fucking theater.
Yeah, right before, yes.
The only way you could see people fuck was go to a theater.
Yeah.
And you had to look ahead.
Yeah.
Everyone looked straight ahead, and then there was weirdos with raincoats on, jacking off in their raincoats.
How are you going to be in that theater and not want to jack off? If you're watching that, I mean...
Well, it's probably so crazy, too, because there was no porn back then. And now, so you look at a porn, it's 12 feet tall.
That's got to be nuts.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Do you remember American Werewolf in London?
Yeah, yeah.
One of the scenes in American Werewolf in London, the final scene, he turns into a werewolf in the middle of a porn theater.
Oh.
So he's in the middle of a porn theater where he visits his dead friend, because his friend kept coming back from the dead to tell him, "Hey man, you got to kill yourself. You're a werewolf. You're killing people."
Oh.
Yeah. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that, no.
Google that scene. It's a great scene, because these people because this is what, go a little bit before that though, because so this is the girly movie theater.
Uh-huh.
And so he's inside this theater with his buddy. This was it, because this is after it already had turned into a werewolf. Like, she's the lady that works there, and she's screaming at these cops that there's a monster in there, and they're telling her she's crazy. And so this guy goes in there. So you hear the porn's playing?
Mm-hmm. Nice.
He sees all the bodies on the ground.
Oh, shit.
Jesus Christ.
Sounds like they're making love in the background, though.
I think it's a porno film playing.
But it's
there it is. See?
It's sweet.
What's that? They stopped it right there?
End of the clip, yeah.
That's before the wolf jumps out and rips the dude's head off.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I've read that the "See You Next Wednesday," which is supposed the title of this fake movie, has been used in a few other movies. Like maybe Tarantino's used it. The background and stuff. Yeah, it's come up a few times.
Interesting. Like a little nod to the film?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great fucking movie.
I gotta watch that.
Best werewolf movie ever.
I haven't seen it.
Like my new werewolf? That's my new werewolf out there. The one outside? It's the better one.
That is a nice one.
Yeah.
And where's the other one?
In the other room.
In the other room? Okay.
I still have it. Pat McGee. He responded to the criticism of Rick Baker. Because Rick Baker was the original makeup artist who created the werewolf in American
super
Werewolf in London.
famous makeup artist, yeah.
And he was on my podcast, and he's fucking amazing. I mean, I'm a giant fan of that guy. And I wanted to be a special effects artist when I was a kid.
Yeah?
I wanted to do like
Because I know you like to
makeup.
sketch and everything, right?
I wanted to do monster makeup. That's what I wanted to do. It was one of the things I wanted to do at one point in time. And so when I had him on, it was like a huge treat. But one of the things he said was that our werewolf was too big. It was too long. The proportions were off. And that it was just like the way the body was. And so Pat McGee was like, oh, fuck. And so he went back and he made a whole new mold and created. And then this time, all the hair on it is actual animal hair. Whereas the other one was like, it seems like carpet and then like hair around his face.
Isn't that cool, though, like artistically, that he heard the critique?
Yeah.
And then he just went for the varsity version of it. Not that the first one wasn't, but just that you can always get better.
Yes.
You know? And he made it awesome.
It's like Richard Pryor telling you your jokes are whack. Can you imagine? Like, yeah, the joke was good, but it's too long. He needs to edit. And you're like, oh, shit. I better edit my jokes. So that's what happened.
That's what happened, yeah.
So Rick Baker's like, that's not the right shape. It's too long.
He was like, I got to make this right.
I got to make it right. And he contacted me. He's like, look, I'm making a new one. Do you want a new one? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go.
That's cool.
Let's
I want to
go.
take a look at it then.
It's way better.
Yeah.
It's one piece, and the muscles are all right. It's different. It's more menacing because it's like it's ready to pounce.
Yeah. That's badass.
Yeah. They haven't made a good werewolf movie in a long
You know what I noticed
time.
is that, I mean, I'm sure this observation has been made, but when you watch, scary movies with monsters now and aliens, there really is like not a lot of variation. Because I was just watching the latest Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that just feels like that monster comes out of the shadows. And you're like, oh, I see some like pirates, and I see some predator, mashed together. But I guess it's almost like there's a monster alien needs to have some human qualities, because when it has human qualities, you're like, it's almost us, right? But it's a scary, terrifying version. And they just, I don't know, like it's fucking badass. It's scary as shit in that thing. But you go, there is like no way almost to create an alien that looks so different from what we've already seen. Right. They all kind of feel like they're made from the same sketch.
Yeah. I guess, remember The Blob?
No.
That was their answer for it in the 1950s was The Blob. It was basically like Jell-O killing people.
Oh, right. That's definitely not as good.
No, it's not as good.
And this one is scary as fuck. I'm not even saying it's not scary. It just doesn't, you just go like, this just feels like a variation of what we've seen.
You know, I finally watched A Quiet Place.
Oh, yeah.
I never saw that before.
That's the one with Krasinski, right? Yeah. I saw the first one. I haven't seen the
second one either, but I saw the first one.
Great concept too.
Oh my God, it's great.
Yeah.
And I love the fact they don't even tell you the origin story.
Yeah.
It's just like obviously something terrible has happened. These people are fucked and they can barely talk. Yeah. The thing though, when they had the actual monsters, like the monsters are pretty fucking creative, pretty interesting. And that lady's hot as the sun.
Who's that?
Emily Blunt?
Yeah.
She's hot.
That's his that's
his
real
wife in real life?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Good for him. He did well.
Yeah.
But it's a fucked up movie. Really interesting movie. There's a few moments I'm like, come on, you're being a little inconsistent here.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's good. It's fun.
Yeah.
There's two of those moments in the second one. You're like,
Dad,
all right.
don't tell me that, Jay. Shut the.
It's a good movie. I just saw it.
You've already ruined it. I'm looking for two moments now. I get one. I'm like, where's the other one?
In my opinion, there was two then.
It's just the concept is cool. Just the aliens themselves are fucking interesting. They're just so fucking wild looking.
Yeah. There's the you remember the one? What was the Spanish one that had, Guillermo?
Yes, Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
That was fucking amazing.
Pan's Labyrinth was amazing.
I love that movie.
Guillermo del Toro makes some cool shit.
He does.
He wrote an interesting book, The Strain, that they turned into like a series on FX. I read the book, and I remember reading the book, and like halfway into the book, it's almost like he just wanted to finish it. And then
really?
The second half of the book is just like a bunch of action shit. And then he killed him. And then this guy died. And then he grabbed him by the neck and cut his neck off.
Like he just stopped.
It just is like the beginning had so much suspense.
Yeah.
Do you know the story behind it?
Nuh-uh.
It's a great story. The story is that this guy is, that's the television show. The guy was, there was a plane, and this plane lands. And no one's getting off the plane, and no one's responding, and they don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
And they get on the plane, and they look around, and everyone's dead. The whole like everyone's dead, and they don't know what the fuck happened. And it turned out that there was a vampire on the plane, and this vampire infected these people, and then some of them, spoiler alert, they become vampires and run around killing people. But the way they become vampires is very different than any other vampire that you've ever seen before. Like their tongue comes out of their mouth and like grabs a hold of people. And yeah, it was a great first half of a book.
There's so many films like that, particularly in the thriller genre. Because the whole thing about a thriller is the reveal. Right? Like there's mystery, there's suspense.
Yeah.
And that's when you'll get disappointed by that's why there's basically one or two good ones. I wouldn't even say every year, maybe like every couple years where you're like, that's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's because they they do the setup right and they build the suspense, and then sometimes on the reveal you go, that's it?
Right.
That's the answer?
Right.
Like, it's that they were hiding in the other room? Like, you know, because you
Right.
you have to reveal it in a way that makes you go like, oh my God. And that's the hardest part of that. It's the hardest part of writing it, and it's definitely the hardest part of like showing it cinematically, is making it engaging and interesting.
Yeah, it's just hard for them to nail like a monster movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Monster
tough.
movies are probably the hardest to nail because it has to not be ridiculous.
You're right.
And it can't really even be too much CGI because CGI kind of looks corny.
No, you need the reveal to be like, yeah, it's got to be built up the right way.
Yeah.
Where you don't know what's what. Like I was just thinking about The Fugitive. Remember The Fugitive?
Mm-hmm.
And how like that was a hit movie, but the great thing about it is you have suspicions, but you're not entirely sure, and then the reveal, like, you know, it piece by piece comes together. Mm-hmm. So you have to get that feeling that you go like, oh, you know, that I solved, and it has to be plausible and believable.
Yeah.
Because you can also, that's the other way that you get fucked on a thriller as a book or a film, is if the resolution and the reveal is so far fetched. You go, well, you just found an answer, but it's just
right.
You just kind of made up things that don't happen. So
right.
The details of that, it's a fucking skill, man.
Yeah, writing, like, that's why Stephen King is the greatest.
Yeah.
Right? Because his books, in particular, when he was doing coke, the old days, the old good ones.
Sure.
Those books are just like, he takes you on this journey of the mind that's so bizarre.
I feel like he was the one that recently, I don't know if it was him, so I might be labeling it wrong, that said that they write where they know the end. Because some writers write differently than that, where he knows the end and then
writes towards it.
Yeah, writes towards it and goes like, I just need to get myself in some shit, right? You have to find your conflict.
Yeah.
How do I get out? But I know I want it to end with this.
Oh.
That's one way to write it. And then, you know, the other way to write is you just
write as you're going.
As you're going, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably fun because you don't even know what the fuck
what's
going to
happen. Yeah.
You have to decide how to do it.
Yeah.
What a fucking time-consuming endeavor, though. And no one knows it better than you now because you did it.
I did it.
But you didn't write fiction.
No.
Which is even crazier.
I did stories and you know, I wrote about you know, a chapter on my dad, on my mom. I wrote a chapter about how I thought I was going to be a doctor when I was a kid. It's called Paging Dr. Stupid because I didn't realize how fucking dumb I was. I mean, you know, you just start writing. I mean, they're fun chapters to write. I wrote about a chapter about finding a body, you know, when I was just out of college at home, and I went with my sister on a drive to go see friends, and she noticed something in a field, you know, and she made me turn around. I didn't want to turn around. I just didn't want to turn. I was like, nah, it's one-way streets, but she pleaded with me, so I did it. And then we pulled over and found a motorcycle. That's what she had seen. It was a motorcycle with the headlights still on. And then we looked around, and then there was somebody laying there, you know, and we called 911, and I go up to the body. I'm so scared to find a body or to approach a body that I'm like, this is a dead person. Oh. And I start going, sir, which is true. Because I didn't, you know, you think you're going to be like, hey, you know,
right?
Are you okay? But I was like, sir. And I went up and I just touched his shoulder with my index finger. And I did it twice. And then he started to grunt. So I just kept saying, don't move, you know, because I just heard that before, don't move. And he sat up. He pushed himself up and sat. And when he sat up, the top of his head just flapped open. And I was like, oh, my God. And then, I mean, a helicopter came and landed in that field, you know, police, ambulances, everything. It was fucking wild.
So the skull?
It was like skin flap, you know, and just like wide open. It wasn't
so you
like,
just saw the skull. You didn't see the brains.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure there was some sticking out of there. I was just like, what the fuck?
Just blood everywhere.
And they you know, the helicopter took him out. And
did he live?
Yeah, he lived.
Really?
He lived, yeah.
And that's not a body. That's a person.
Well, it was a body when I first saw it. Yeah, there's just, I mean, I write about ODing, you know.
Yeah?
I tell, just stories.
How did you OD? What were you on?
GHB. I took a bunch of that, the date rape drug, but I gave it to myself, so I'm not a bad person. And yeah, and I drank a lot, which is like the deadly combo. That's what they would, even like the dealers that would sell it to you, which is rare. They'd be like, don't drink on this, you know, because the combination was lethal. I think I had 14 fucking screwdrivers that night.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And GHB?
Yeah. And
Whoa.
a super high dosage.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I ended up
In a hospital?
in a coma. Yeah.
For how long?
The coma was 8-10 hours. But they had like a vigil at the hospital, people praying and all this shit. Yeah. And then you like have to go through people being like, "Oh, you're a junkie."
Oh boy,
You know?
because you overdosed.
Yeah, and you're like, "No,
How
no, no."
old?
I was a freshman in college. So I was 18,
Boy.
19. Yeah. It was bad.
Jesus Christ.
It was bad.
So people
Yeah.
thought you had a problem after that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, some people only knew you as that. You know what I mean? As
Right,
from
the
a
guy who
small.
overdosed.
You're like, oh, you're that fucking drug addict. You know? And you're like, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
that was rough.
Was it a thing when you wrote this? Did you have an outline of stories you definitely wanted to get in there, or did you just sit down and say, "I've got a book to write. Let me think of some."
A few things that I was like, I definitely. Let me see that. I definitely was like, I know I know I want to write some of these stories. I knew I wanted to write one about my dad, and then I had these like consistent things throughout the book where between those longer stories and essays, I drop in chapters about famous people I've flown with, who are mostly black. So
Did you know the Tyson story where you told
Bruce
him you love
Bruce,
him?
Chris Tucker, yeah, Serena Williams, Jill Scott, who I was with you when I ran into Jill Scott again. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We had just done, I think it was maybe the New Orleans gig, and I had just finished writing the chapter about
That's
Jill
right.
Scott. And I was like, oh man. And then I see Jill Scott in the green room afterwards with everybody, and I'm like, because the chapter about her, I start saying that my proof that I definitely met her is that I say Jill Scott hates salmon, and I went up to her and I go, hey, I just wrote the chapter about when we flew together, and she was like, okay. And I go, we flew together from L.A. to Nashville, like I don't know, 8-10 years ago, and she was like, okay. I go, do you want to know how I'm not lying? She goes, how? I go, you hate salmon. She goes, I don't fuck with anything pink. That's what she said. So I mean, you know,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's just chapters like about that, and then I mean, I have a whole road stories chapter. Working for America's Most Wanted, I have a chapter on that. It's just like
You
know,
worked for America's Most Wanted?
yeah.
What did you do?
I was a researcher. I would research like criminals and stories for us to profile, and then I would pitch them to the story editor.
What year was this?
Dude, do you know what my first day was? September 10th, 2001.
Whoa.
So it went from, you know, mostly crazy fugitives, and then we pivoted hard to terrorism. And people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, the show, what we did after that was we just show like Bin Laden every week. We're like, we got to get this motherfucker. You know, like that was the show. I would go to the White House, and we would be on the...
You would go to the White House?
Yeah, I would be at the West Wing
How
lawn.
old were you back then?
I was just out of college, so 21, 22. It was right before I moved
shit.
here.
Wow.
It was my... So when I
Right
graduated...
before you moved to L.A., you mean?
Sorry, to L.A.
Yeah.
I graduated college. My friend's in Boston doing real estate. He's like, come up here and get this money. And I was like, okay. Because it's the easiest fucking way to make money is you go work for a real estate place in Boston specifically. Because Boston has 61 colleges and universities, meaning there is always a need for housing on top of being a major city. And the easiest thing to do is you just show an apartment. And when somebody rents that apartment, they have to pay first, last, and equivalent of 1 month to the real estate office that showed it. And then you split that with the real estate office. So if you're fucking right out of college and you're even just hustling, you don't even have to be skilled, just hustling, showing up every day, you're making thousands of dollars a week. But I even knew then that I didn't want to do it. Like I was making great money for a kid just out of college. And I was like, I just knew I didn't want to do that.
You didn't just want to make money.
I didn't want to just want to make money. I didn't want to make money doing that specifically. And I had interned at America's Most Wanted in college for a summer.
Really?
Yeah, and I was actually like a producer on a spin-off show called Final Justice.
Huh.
So I was like producing episodes of that. So when I called them, they go, we want to offer you a job as a researcher on the big show on AMW, they called it. And so I went down there, dude, September 10th, and then September 11th, obviously. The show's in D.C., so I'm in College Park living in a house in Maryland, driving into D.C., on September 11th, you know, and it was just fucking chaos. I mean, the Pentagon's there. It's like, and I was there 20 hours that day. It was fucking so nuts. And then I just realized after 3 months of doing that, I was like, I don't want to do this either. So I packed up a truck and just drove out to LA.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you packed up the truck driving off to LA, what were you thinking?
I really thought, I was like, okay, I kind of want to be a comedic actor, but maybe I thought maybe I would be more in like the directing, like behind the camera kind of person too.
And did you have any theatrical experience?
I had done like a couple, I did an improv troupe thing in like high school, not even in college. I made funny videos because I was a comm major, so everyone would make like serious videos and I would always hand in like comedic ones. And I had done a play one time also when I was like, I don't know, like 13 or something like that. So that was it. But I was like, you know, I felt like I'll do the Groundlings, and I had read that that's where like SNL picks up people. I was like, oh, that's what I'll do. I'll just do that. So I interned at Copelson Entertainment, which was making big movies, and I was learning that, like script reading and doctoring scripts, and then going to the Groundlings. But you know who was in my Groundlings class was Sam Tripoli.
Really?
Yeah. I was 22 and he was probably 7-8 years older than me. And it was like 2 or 3 classes in. He's like, you need to stand up, bro. Got to get out there and gig, fight, fucking fight crime. I was like, okay.
Fight crime?
Yeah.
That's such a Tripoli thing to say.
Yeah. And I was like, what? And he goes, you'd like it, bro. You'd like it. And then he took me around. I watched him do stand up.
So Tripoli talked you into doing stand up?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. I love that dude.
He's great. It was fun to see him last week.
Yeah, it was great to see him at your party.
Yeah.
He's a fun dude.
I got twins, Ninja and Ghost. I'm like, what?
This kid's named Ninja and Ghost.
I think they're nicknames. But yeah, it's very Sam.
No, he's a character. So where was your first place you went on stage?
It's no longer there. It was called the Good Bar. It was right on Sunset. It was right before, you know that on Sunset when you're heading west, there's a sign that says you're entering Beverly Hills. But before that, there was like a building there and like a bank, and there was a bar called the Good Bar. That was the first time I did stand-up.
And was it an open mic night?
It was a booked, like, bringer, you know, / like, you're not experienced comic show, you know?
How did you get up? How did it work?
The Nick Wegner, who was a writer, who's a writer now, a comedy writer, does very well. He was also in that class. He had heard me talking about wanting to do it, so he took me around, introduced me to a woman named Kathy Kanicki, and when he introduced me, he goes, "This is Tom, he's a comic." And she was like doing something, and she goes, "Oh, you want to do the show like April 9th?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she didn't ask me anything, so he was like, "Okay, you're booked for a show now." And the craziest thing was I was so goddamn nervous for that show, that first show. And I get there, I probably fucking an hour and a half early, you know, when you're just like, oh my God. And I go, when am I up? When am I up? And they have the order. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. He's like, you're 7th. And I was like, okay. So I have like all this time to keep freaking out. And I hear this, the MC, the host, doing doing her bits. And then she's like, all right, let's bring up your first comic, Tom Segura. And I'm like, what? And they're like, they're calling you. And I walk up, and as I'm shaking her hand, I go, I thought I was 7th. And she looks down, and she goes, oh, yeah. And then she just walked off. And I was like, but I think I was actually good because I didn't
have a chance to get nervous?
Yeah. It just freaked me out.
Wow.
You know how dumb I was?
How?
I fucking invited people to that show, and I go, I didn't tell them. I go, I do stand-up. Do you want to see me do stand-up? Instead of saying, this is my first time doing stand-up.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have it on tape. I got to put it up sometime.
You got it on tape? What was your first joke?
I don't remember because I haven't seen it in forever. I know I talked about how my dick points to the left at some point. I know that was in there. It hasn't really progressed.
That's hilarious.
But I do remember, I like the fucking stupidity to be like, you guys should come watch me do stand-up. Not
you were what, 20?
22, 20, maybe I just turned 23.
That's a good time because your brain's not fully formed.
No.
You still can do risky things.
Yeah.
When people start, like Robert Schimmel, who's one of the greats, started stand-up when he was 36.
That's wild.
Wild.
Was he really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I hope I'm right about that, but I'm pretty sure I am. That that's different.
It is.
You know, especially a lot of people are married and they have children, they have jobs, and that's a crazy dream to want to do stand-up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Crazy dream.
Yeah, I think Kirk Fox told me he started in his 30s too. He's super funny. We do gigs all the time together.
He's very funny.
Very funny, super smart guy. And he just wasn't, he was a tennis pro.
Yeah.
I probably didn't think of it. And then he did acting. And then I think I forget if he tried it by chance or if somebody was like, you should try it. But he did it and then he got hooked, He got bit by it. But he was in his 30s, I think.
It's really tough for people to change gears once they're already a fully formed adult with and people that you grew up with, that went to college with, they have full-blown careers.
Yeah.
And then you're going to become a beginner at something as ridiculous as comedy.
Yeah. Fucking crazy.
We're so lucky we got in early. You know where else we're lucky we got in early? Podcasting.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus Christ. Imagine trying to do it now. We pulled it up the other day. 4 million podcasts now.
4 million.
There's 4 million different podcasts.
Isn't it crazy you have the number one of 4 million?
It's crazy.
That's really crazy.
Doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. Genuinely don't understand it.
Number one of 4 million.
But I'm not stopping now, bitch.
Yeah.
I understand what's going on.
Yeah, of course.
You got to keep going.
Yeah.
Like if you tried to jump in now and take over the podcast game, there's too many options.
Yes.
Like I have a certain, like I was telling before, I have a certain amount of podcasts that I listen to.
Yeah.
And I just go to my phone to go, I'll try that one. And I listen to it. But it's hard for me to get a new one.
Yeah.
Like a new one to get into my lineup. There's too many good ones out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the bottleneck today. The only thing that could save you is like coming on a podcast like yours or mine or someone else's that already has an audience.
Yeah.
And then, then you can kind of get people to come over to you.
You really got to kind of catch magic, like lightning to have it. You either have to be like such a unique talent or your angle has to be so unique. You know? I think if you go like, I do the sit around and talk thing. Like that's, I just talk to people. You're like, you could do it, dude. I don't want to talk anyone out of it, but are you either such a compelling interviewer or commentator that it's going to get an audience?
I used to tell everybody they should have their own podcast, and now I don't.
Really?
Now I'm like, oh, shit. I guess you can try.
Yeah, it's tough.
Now I'm like, the fucking pool is so deep.
It's deep. Yeah, it's really deep.
There's not 4 million comics.
Fuck no.
Fuck no.
No way.
Not even close.
No.
But there's 4 million podcasts.
That's fucking wild. I wonder if you broke those down, how many you would consider let's just say a professional podcast. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, because this one wasn't professional. You were there for one of the earliest episodes.
Yeah, I was definitely.
I remember you were making fun of me. You were like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Dude, I left there and I was like, "Why is he doing this?" To Red Band, I was like, what is this?" And he's like, "I don't know."
Even Red Band didn't know I was doing it. Especially when I wanted to do more than one a week. He was like,
I was
what?
like, who is listening to this? And you were like, the message boards. I was like, the message boards? You're like, a lot of people are listening, man. I'm like, okay.
A lot of people was like 1,000 people.
But you had the float tank. I was like, this guy's out of his mind. Just let him do his thing. Like, he's got a float tank. He's talking in his office.
And I was trying to talk everybody else into doing a podcast too.
Yes, you did. You were 1,000% instrumental in me starting one, and I started it in 2010, at the end of 2010, and it was because every time I saw you, every time we'd work together on the flight, you got to do a podcast, man. You got to do a podcast. And I was like, yeah, all right. I just kept, okay. I was thinking about it, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then Brian made it easy because he was like, just come over, I'll set you up, just sit down, just do it.
I felt like there was a magnet that was pulling me in a general direction.
Sure.
I felt like there was something going on with that.
Yeah.
And I never thought it would ever be what it is.
Yeah, how can you?
You can't. But I'll never say I saw that, but I did feel compelled to do it.
That I think is very clear looking back. It feels like you felt that. And I remember how quickly you took it seriously. Like you took it like I'm working out. I'm training and I don't fuck around when I train. Was the same. You had the same approach. Once like the wheel started to turn a little bit, you were like, dude, I podcast. Like I do this all the time, multiple times a week, hours at a time. It was like, oh, you had a different drive to do it that felt like something was drawing you towards it.
It was very weird. It's very weird now knowing how it turned out, you know? And I would like to say that I saw it coming. I definitely didn't. But I for sure felt compelled. I've just always been a person that, for whatever reason, I go on instincts.
Yeah.
Like when I bailed out of L.A., I'm like, I see this is not going the way I think it should go. I got to get out of here.
Jumped out. Yeah.
I'm like, this is a fucked up city. You got to get out of here. This is not serving us anymore.
Yeah.
That's for a lot of things. When I started doing stand-up, it was the same thing. I'm like, I was fucking terrible when I started out. But I was like, I got to do this. This is my thing.
That's a real, I think, common thing for stand-ups. You're like, I have to keep doing this.
Yeah. You feel drawn. You feel like there's something about it that if you just get a chuckle, just get a couple of laughs, and then you feel like maybe I could build on that.
Oh, my God.
My second set that I ever did, I got laughs.
Yeah?
Yeah, I remember it was way better than my first set. My first set, I was like clunky and nervous and weird. But my second set, I was accustomed to the sound and the lights and the whole deal. And I had like a little bit of an experience of doing the first one to ride on. And then I got laughs. And I remember doing my second set. I was like, I'm going to be a comedian.
Oh, yeah. I remember the opposite almost. I remember getting laughs, like not killing, but just getting laughs. And like having done, let's say, 4, 5, 6, 7 sets. I'm like, I got a grip on this, and having the first shit set where I'm like where it just feels like someone punched you in the stomach. Like, so it actually took me just a few sets to get there, and the thing is that it really kicks you down, but the immediate thing you recognize, you're like, I have to do this again so I can wash that off.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it was, also I was like, something must have been wrong with them. You know? I was like, I don't know why this didn't work tonight.
I remember also the big transition was transitioning from open mics to doing a paid show.
Oh, yeah.
The difference in the expectations of the audience, the difference in the level of the comedians you are working with. And I was realizing like, oh, I'm on like Bambi deer legs. Like, I'm Bambi walking on ice.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I got $50. The first time I got that was, I think, at an improv. And it was 2 years in, and I just was like, holy shit, this is such other level. You know?
Yes, different. And, I've unfortunately found that out by taking guys on the road, too. Guys that were, like, doing pretty good at bringer shows and pretty good at, like, small local shows. And then I'd take them and I'd bring them in front of a theater in front of 3,000 people, and they'd just like clam up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, like you have to have your bits. Do you plan your bits out? Do you listen to recordings? You got to record yourself. And I would tell a few of them, and a few of them I had to just stop helping. I was like, okay, you're not doing enough.
I know.
I can't help you.
I've run into the same thing over the years.
It's very unfortunate because like they have a crazy opportunity.
Yeah.
If I'm putting you out there, there's some guys that fucking run with it, like Hans Kim.
Yeah.
That motherfucker runs with it.
Yeah.
Ali Makovsky, she ran with it. A lot of people like run with it. And some people just don't work. They're lazy and they're happy that you're taking them on the road with them, but then they're doing the same material every place.
There's that, and there's also you're just chopping it up with someone, and you're like, when was the last time you did stand up? And they're like, the last time we worked together. And you're like, what? That was months ago.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't do that. I had a friend of mine show up at one of my shows in Seattle, and he's like, dude, I know I could kill in front of your crowd. I go, when was the last time you did stand-up? He's like, it's been over a year. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. There's 2,700 people out there.
Yeah,
there's not a chance in hell I'm putting you on that stage.
No.
Like, there's already a full show as it is, and you're going to go up there and flounder around for 5 minutes? Like, there's no way you're going to kill.
No. It's not going to go
He's
well.
like, you got to be dedicated to this thing. But so many people that get into stand-up, they're depressed. And they just, like, there's moments in their life where they just lay around doing nothing. And they just, and then they'll, like, sort of figure out a way to, like, break free and get to a comedy club. And they want it all to happen for them. Like, hey, man, this is like a marathon.
Yeah, we do get a lot of mental illness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people that, like, they're self-medicating and they think that somehow or another that stand-up is the answer. But it's also like so many people have been mentally ill that have been great stand-ups. You know?
That's true. We were just talking about Richard Jeni.
Yeah. I was just thinking about him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How funny he was too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He was so good. He was so good, and he's also so good in context. Like you would listen to his recordings today in 2022, and you'd say he's really good. But if you saw him in 1989 when he was a motherfucker, he was like one of the best comics alive.
Yeah.
But he wanted to be Jim Carrey. He wanted to be that movie star. He wanted to be Jerry Seinfeld. And he had a TV show on one of those bullshit networks. I think it was like the CW or something like that. It was called The Platypus Man.
Platypus Man, that was his whole thing,
Yeah, he had a special called Platypus Man.
That's right.
And then he was in The Mask with Jim Carrey. He was in a few things.
Yeah.
But it never happened.
No.
And he was fucking horribly depressed. And meanwhile, everybody was envious of him.
Yeah, everyone thought he was like so. I mean, he was. You know?
He was the fucking man. But, you know, when I would go on the road, I would always ask, like, because they always have, like, a local guy who had to take you around and bring you to the radio. You know, it was either the club manager that would bring you to the radio in the morning. I go, hey, who's the most miserable person you had to bring around?
Yeah.
And it was always Richard Jenney.
Really?
Always. They would all say, oh, my God, Richard Jenney. He, like, hated being there, didn't want to do it. He hated the fact that he had to be on the road. He didn't want to be on the road. He wanted to be a movie star.
Sure.
But meanwhile, he was the best comic alive.
Hilarious. I know.
Crazy.
I mean, I can't say the other name, but I'll tell you later. But I've asked about another comedian before, and I asked people who worked, and I go, he's just great. And they go, I've never been around a more miserable person. I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, I hope you do well in this business, but you don't end up miserable like him. I was like, God damn. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you're not miserable.
No.
You're killing it out there. You enjoying this?
Yeah. It's been. I mean,
you got your moment in the sun right now, pal.
It's been really fun.
You're murdering.
Yeah, I've been. I feel super fortunate, you know, to be doing it, and I'm having a great time. I mean, I signed up for a little too hectic of a tour, but I actually am really having fun. I have like the best fucking crew, which makes everything. It makes the biggest difference.
Oh yeah.
You know, because I travel with a tour crew, like the bus and a tour manager, driver, tour director, security guy. Like, it's a crew that we go with.
It's a good move to do it when you're doing a schedule that's as hard as yours.
Yeah. And they're great, and it makes everything work. And, you know, they become your second family.
Yeah.
So, we have as many shows as we do. It's fucking, we're out there, man.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I'm super lucky. I'm very blessed.
I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I really am. It's very, very inspiring. Your hustle, your work ethic, and just your success. Just how fucking funny you are and all the shit you're doing, and the fact you have time to write a book and all this too.
Yeah.
So it's out right now. It's called I Like to Play Alone, Please.
Yeah.
I'd Like to Play Alone, Please. And the tour, is it TomSegura.com?
Yep, TomSegura.com. Yep, /tour. And
he's out there, bitches.
Fucking so many dates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in Austin this weekend. So find the scalpers, you fucks.
Fine.
Right,
Thanks, Joe.
That's it. My pleasure, brother. All right. Bye, everybody.